Douluo, at the beginning, I signed with the martial spirit of the god of death. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 276. Scared. The one who rushed at the front was the dark devil spider. It rushed out from the grass on one side and rushed towards everyone in Wuhan Hall at an extremely fast speed. Its target was extremely clear. It was Zhu Douluo and Gui Dao, the spirit masters of the spirit hall behind Luo. Zhu Douluo and Ghost Douluo were shocked when they saw it. Ghost Douluo immediately dodged and rushed towards the hell demon spider. Speed itself was Ghost Douluo's best ability. He arrived in front of the hell demon spider in an instant and pushed it away. If they are blocked, a war will inevitably begin. After the hell demon spider appeared, it was followed by the king of earth and the ghost demon, both of which were 6-year-old and 7-year-old soul dead beasts respectively, with equally ferocious fighting power. The earth king and the ghost demon have the same goal as the hell demon spider. They are both soul masters in the Wuhan Palace team. They don't even look at the two strongest beings, Zhu Douluo and Ghost Douluo. Have a look. While Ghost Douluo was restraining the hell demon spider, he had to distract himself from dealing with the Earth King and the Ghost Demon. The Soul Masters of the Wuhan Palace were not stupid either. Faced with this sudden situation, they were indeed a little shocked, but each of them adjusted their state very quickly and immediately joined the battle. You must know that their team of Soul Masters is composed of Soul Saints. The golden generation of Wuhan Palace is considered to be the strongest among this group of people in terms of strength. That is to say, they have completed many tasks and have extremely rich combat experience. Otherwise they may not be qualified to participate in this operation. There were a total of 25 people in Wuhan Palace's operation. Excluding Zhu Douluo, Ghost Douluo and the 3 golden generation players in Wuhan Palace, the remaining 20 people were all Soul Saints. They immediately activated their martial souls one by one, and then engaged in the process of fighting the dead soul beast. The hell demon spider is now an 8-year-old soul beast. After getting the death badge and evolving, its combat power is even close to that of a 9-year-old or 10-year-old soul beast. If Ghost Douluo can barely deal with the hell demon spider, but it would be very difficult to deal with 3 dead soul beasts at the same time. Fortunately, the soul masters of Wuhan Palace adjusted their status quickly enough and immediately joined the battle, otherwise Ghost Douluo would be very uncomfortable. As for Zhu Douluo, he has never made a move because Zhu Douluo still has to be wary of the unknown title Douluo right in front of him. In Zhu Douluo's view, this person is the strongest being. If he joins during the battle between Ghost Douluo and this one launched a fierce attack, the consequences would be disastrous. And Ghost Douluo also thought of this. Even if he faced 3 powerful soul beasts at the same time, he did not complain at all and gritted his teeth to hold on. "Who is your excellency?" Zhu Douluo asked coldly. Guangzhonggang grinned. "If you don't change your name in office, you won't change your surname in office. Guangzhonggang. Guangzhonggang." Zhu Douluo frowned slightly. He had really never heard of this name. This world is so big, only those with extraordinary strength can be remembered by people. Guangzhonggang's talent is indeed outstanding, but no matter how talented the Soul Emperor is, he can't compare to an ordinary title Douluo. It was normal for Zhu Douluo to have never heard of Guangzhonggang's name. Even if it was Guangzhongfei, Zhu Douluo would not recognize him. Guangzhonggang and Guangzhongfei are 2 talented swordsman brothers. They usually keep a low profile and are not famous. Even if Guangzhonggang later joined the Evil Soul Master organization and did many things, his strength at that time was only that of the Soul Emperor. That's all. No one would deliberately remember the name of a Soul Emperor. Although Guangzhongfei broke through to the realm of title Douluo early, but in these years, Guangzhongfei has been living in the killing city. Besides, Guangzhonggang, Guangzhongfei and Zhu Douluo were not from the same era, or it would be more appropriate to describe them as people from different circles. When Guangzhonggang saw Zhu Douluo's unexpected expression, the smile on his face instantly became more intense. No one remembers his name the best. It would be embarrassing if everyone pointed at his nose and yelled "Evil Soul Master." "I'm too lazy to talk nonsense with you. Let's have a good fight." Although the days of fighting every day are very hard, it's worth remembering. Now that I'm free, I feel like something is wrong with me. Guangzhonggang laughed. Douluo suddenly entered an extremely serious state, his brows furrowed. "We are from the spirit hall. Tisk, tisk, I'm still a member of the God of Death. I don't care about your bullshit martial arts hall. If you want to fight, hurry up," Guang's Hongyang said disdainfully. Douluo knew that there was no room for maneuver in the matter. He clenched his fists and his eyes were full of anger. "Guang's Hongyang, you will regret your stupid choice." Then Douluo activated his martial spirit. Although there was no dazzling 10-year-old bloody spirit ring, the 9 best matched spirit rings were equally dazzling and longing for him. The 9 spirit rings have already symbolized the top strength in the world. Although there are still top ones above the top, Douluo's level can already be regarded as rare. Douluo activated his martial spirit, and his aura surged with murderous intent. If looks could kill, Guang's Hongyang would have been torn to pieces by Douluo countless times. Seeing that Douluo had activated his martial spirit, Guang's Hongyang was not to be outdone and immediately activated his martial spirit. He also had the same 9 best matched soul rings, but Guang's Hongyang's soul rings were all covered with a layer of dead gray. And the top 3 soul rings have a completely gray feel. Guang's Hongyang had a smile on his face from beginning to end, looking so calm. The demon-slaying sword appeared in Guang's Hongyang's hand, and the long sword that Guang's Hongyang stepped on turned into a phantom and disappeared. Guang's Hongyang, who was holding a long sword, was about to rush towards Douluo. Unexpectedly, an extremely huge double-horned python suddenly rushed out from the ground, its mouth wide open, trying to kill Douluo directly. "Swallow. I'm going. I won't lead you to play like this. Everyone will be divided by you. Who'll I fight with?" When Guang's Hongyang saw the sudden appearance of the 2-horned python, the smile on his face suddenly disappeared and turned into a very unhappy expression. Douluo was also shocked by the sudden appearance of the double-horned giant python. He actually hadn't sensed the opponent's existence. It was only when the opponent broke out of the ground that Douluo noticed it. If his reaction speed was not fast enough, he would have fallen into the mouth of the 2-horned python, and the consequences would be disastrous. The strength of this giant python is no less than that of a 10-year-old soul beast. Even if it is still some distance away from a 10-year-old soul beast, it is not far away. It's terrifying to think that such a terrifying existence can completely conceal its aura and suddenly launch an attack. A soul beast that is 8 years old, a soul beast that is about to break through to 10 years old, the other 2 soul beasts that are no less than 5 years old, plus the title Douluo. What is going on? Zhu Yi suddenly appeared in Douluo's heart. Is it possible that we were ambushed? Chapter 277 Runaway. With so many spirit beasts gathered together, and there was also a human named Douluo, wasn't this an ambush or something? Judging from their posture, they were waiting for their group. By the way, that guy is not a human being at all. He is definitely also a 10-year-old soul beast. How could spirit beasts coexist peacefully with humans? Only soul beasts will stay with soul beasts. After escaping the attack of the 2-horned giant python, Douluo suddenly had many thoughts in his heart, almost doubting whether he was dreaming at the moment, as he could even encounter such a weird situation. After the double-horned python missed a blow, it did not give up. Instead, it exposed its entire body. A large area of cracks appeared on the ground, and then it completely broke. An extremely huge double-horned python was revealed from it. The huge snake tail swung violently, at an extremely fast speed, and moved towards Douluo with extremely terrifying power. Douluo is still at the peak Douluo level after all. Even if he is a beginner, it is still relatively easy to dodge the simplest attacks. After dodging the double-horned python's tail attack, Douluo immediately counterattacked. A strange velvet-toothing chrysanthemum quietly appeared in Douluo's hand, and was then lightly flicked by Douluo. The Babel chrysanthemum unexpectedly arrived in front of the 2-horned giant python in an instant, exploded with a bang, and released an extremely terrifying energy storm. Moreover, those petals became extremely lethal weapons and scattered in all directions. Most of them did not enter the 2-horned python. Inside the python, a big hole was blown into the body of the 2-horned python, but it still didn't stop moving and continued to hit Douluo with its tail. After Douluo released his soul skill, he could no longer dodge as flexibly as before. He had enough reaction time, but his body was too late. Boom! The huge snake's tail landed firmly on Douluo's body, and Douluo's whole body was instantly whipped out, breaking dozens of big trees that were surrounded by several people before he could stop. Puff! As soon as he stopped, Douluo spat out a mouthful of blood and looked at the two-horned python in disbelief. After suffering such a horrific attack, it was able to fight back immediately. It was able to ignore pain and physical damage. Also, its power is too terrifying. Douluo felt that his body was about to break, and he felt severe pain everywhere in his body. This was because he provided a defense for himself in time, and barely offset some of the power of the two-horned python, otherwise the injuries will only get worse. When the tail of the double-horned python fell on Douluo, a faint golden light bloomed on Douluo's body. That was Douluo's defense method. Although the effect was not great, at least it did not let him down. The situation became even worse. The two-horned python is quickly adjusting his state. He must quickly prepare for the next wave of battle, because the two-horned python has already rushed towards him. The two-horned giant python's mutilated body had begun to recover rapidly, which made Douluo's face become even more ugly after seeing it. It's impossible to fight. Even if I can kill this giant python, I have to pay a very heavy price. There is a tidal Douluo behind the giant python. If he also takes action, we have no chance of winning. Douluo was very decisive. Knowing that he and others could not win, he immediately had the idea of retreating. This was not possible without retreating. If it dragged on, everyone would die. On the other side, Douluo and Douluo were in the same mental state, and he had also had the idea of retreating. The strange spider in front of me is so powerful in combat, and the most disgusting thing is its attack method. Every attack of this big spider will be accompanied by black flames. You can only dodge, not even block. As long as it collides with its spider spear, the black flames will immediately attack, and then it will be like a maggot attached to the bone. Hard to get rid of. Due to the special nature of martial arts, my own body is already weird enough, but the body of the big spider is even weirder. From the appearance alone, it looks a bit like a crypt spider, but if you look closely, you will find that it is different from the crypt spider. Demon spiders are fundamentally different. The whole body is covered by a black armor-like shell, with blood-colored lines faintly visible on it, and extremely strange black flames are attached to the body. This guy is not a creature of this world at all. I have never seen any spider-type soul beast grow like this. Yes, it also has such weird characteristics. If he keeps fighting, Douluo has absolute confidence to kill this weird spider in front of him, but he will also pay a certain price, and the fighting time will be very long. The shorter the fighting time, the more he will pay. The cost will be greater. Like Douluo, Douluo would also pay attention to the movements of the human tidal Douluo from time to time. He had never participated in the battle, and he and others had already fought very hard. If he also joined the battle, then there will be no suspense in this battle. Looking at the other soul masters in Wuhan Hall, their battle was also a bit difficult. Even though they were large in number, they were not able to exert much advantage. The ghost demon has the characteristics of long-range output. The King of Earth is thick-skinned and very durable. Moreover, the King of Earth also has group output skills, which made the soul masters of Wuhan Palace miserable. It had only been less than a few minutes of fighting, and 5 soul masters on the side of the Wuhan Palace soul masters had already fallen, 3 more were seriously injured, and 4 were slightly injured, and their combat effectiveness was reduced by more than half. On the other hand, the ghost demon and the King of Earth, although their bodies were riddled with holes, still continued to fight. Their combat effectiveness remained at its peak, and their combat effectiveness did not decrease due to physical damage. The most frightening thing is that the wounds on the ghost demon and the Earth King are healing rapidly. This recovery ability has made all the soul masters in Wuhan Palace despair. Why can't they be killed? Quickly, disperse quickly, the King of Earth is about to release magma to crack the ground again. Under normal circumstances, the soul beasts can only release their skills 2 to 3 times. How can they keep releasing them? This ghost demon is even more disgusting. After its energy cannon explodes, it will erupt with electric current. Although the power is not great, it can cause temporary paralysis and slow down our movements. If we want to avoid the Earth King's magma cracking strike, it's even harder. Countless question marks appeared on the heads of the soul masters of Wuhan Palace. Including the 3 members of the Golden Generation, Hulina and the others were already beginning to doubt their lives, and Yan was already injured. Guangzhougang, who had been watching the battle, suddenly raised his hand, immediately attracting the attention of everyone in Wuhan Hall. No orders were needed, everyone unleashed all their potential in unison. got rid of the current battle as quickly as possible, and then fled like crazy without looking back. As a result, Guangzhongyang just scratched his itch. Chapter 278, A 5-Year Covenant. Chapter 278 5-Year Agreement. The undead will not have much physical feeling. The reason why Guangzhongyang scratches his itch is just subconsciously. When people are bored, they always want to do something to relieve boredom. Guangzhongyang is doing it subconsciously. This is the case. Guangzhongyang also didn't expect that just by scratching an itch, he could create such a big noise and actually scare away all the soul masters of the Wuhan Palace. This scared Guangzhongyang, the person involved. What's going on? They all ran away? I haven't even had time to play yet. Guangzhongyang immediately held the demon-slaying sword and wanted to catch up, but was stopped by the two-horned python and other dead soul beasts. I know the boss has told me not to pursue, but I really can't help it. What you guys did is really too much. You didn't even leave me a target. I didn't even have time to enjoy it. You don't know what Lao Liu means? The boss told me this. If you don't understand, ask the boss. Come on, if you have something to say, why don't you stop chasing me? Don't do anything, everyone, calm down. Guangzhongyang originally wanted to pursue him forcefully, but when he saw that all the dead souls were about to attack him, he immediately held back. When carrying out this operation, Chen Luo had already explained that the battle could be freely carried out, but no matter what the final outcome was, he could not pursue it. The dead soul beasts naturally absolutely follow Chen Luo's arrangements, and will also strictly control those who do not follow the arrangements. Due to the early attack of the dead soul beasts, Guangzhongyang did not enjoy the joy of fighting that he wanted, which made Guangzhongyang extremely depressed. Seeing that the enemy had completely escaped, Guangzhongyang could only sigh and put away his martial spirit. The battle was now over, and the dead soul beasts began to clean up the battlefield. He directly swallowed the body of the dead spirit master of Wuhan Palace, tried to restore the damaged environment as much as possible, and then returned to the small lake together. The dead soul beasts were more or less injured, and the most seriously injured were the Earth King and the Ghost Demon. They were the two weakest among the dead soul beasts, and the enemies they faced. It is also the most serious injury is unavoidable. It is already very good to be able to delay for such a long time and beat those Wuhan Palace soul masters to a certain defeat. There is a huge hole on the Earth King's head. If it were a normal soul beast, it would have been beaten so hard by now. The body of the Ghost Demon is missing more than half, giving people a shaky feeling. Next is the Hell Demon Spider. Although the Hell Demon Spider has now reached the level of an 8-year-old soul beast, and its combat power is close to that of a 9-year-old soul beast, what it faces is, after all, the Ghost Douluo who exists at the peak Douluo level. Period. The gap in hard power is really difficult to make up. Even if the Hell Demon Spider has many powerful abilities, it just makes up for these gaps. It can barely tie with Ghost Douluo, but if you want to defeat Ghost Douluo, unless Ghost Douluo made a mistake himself, it would be unrealistic. Ghost Douluo was also very ruthless. 3 of the Hell Demon Spider's spider spears were broken, and there were dense cracks on the main body, as if it might break apart at any time. Of course, Ghost Douluo also suffered a lot of injuries. Even if Ghost Douluo finally succeeded in taking down the Hell Demon Spider, he would end up seriously injured. The slightly better one is the 10-year-old double-horned giant python that is getting closer and closer to the 9-year-old soul beast. With such strength, it is unlikely to be seriously injured. If it weren't for the fact that the two-horned giant python's fighting style was a bit shoddy, it would be difficult for the two-horned giant python to be seriously injured. It would have a chance to avoid Zhu Daoluo's soul skills, or to inflict the damage done to it by Zhu Daoluo. The damage was reduced to the minimum, but it chose to take it hard, just to make it more comfortable for itself to fight. Zhu Daoluo's injuries were also relatively serious. From the process of his fight with the two-horned giant python, it can be seen that the two-horned giant python's desperate, disgusting fighting style made Zhu Daoluo miserable. Vomiting blood was enough to show that Zhu Daoluo had withstood the terrifying attack of the two-horned python. Even if they finally succeeded in evacuating the Star Forest, Zhu Daoluo would have to rest for at least a month after returning this time. After all, a peak Douluo is a peak Douluo. It is relatively easy to defeat him, but it is a bit difficult to kill him. Even Guangzhongyang joined the battle. Zhu Daoluo and Ghost Douluo were not that easy to kill. They both had legs and would run away if they couldn't be beaten. When a peak Douluo tried his best to escape, But it's not that easy to stop, unless the strength is far better than him or about the same. If Gong's Hongfei takes action, then Zhu Douluo and Ghost Douluo will not be able to leave, or they can be replaced by other beings of the same level, such as Black Curse, Aaron, or even Li Feng, who has peak Douluo combat power after opening the Demon Abyss. Both Bianlu and his wife are fine. Guang's Honggang did possess the fighting power of a peak Douluo, and he had killed a sword master with peak Douluo's strength in the sword tomb, but after all, the sword master was considered an undead spirit and only knew how to fight hard, while Zhu Douluo and Ghost Douluo is still alive, so escaping is relatively easy. When all the dead soul beasts returned to the small lake, Guang's Honggang also passed by dejectedly. Chen Luo and the others were making skewers at this time, and Chen Luo walked out with a large handful of barbecue skewers while eating. "It's over so soon," Chen Luo said, a little surprised. Guang's Honggang sighed and waved his hand. "Stop talking, these idiots have deprived me of this rare opportunity to fight." Chen Luo couldn't help but smile after hearing this. This was not the first time Guang's Honggang said the word Lao Liu in front of him. Guang's Honggang learned everything quickly, and he also learned these words that did not belong to this world. Although he was masturbating calmly in the stone house, Chen Luo knew the situation on Guang's Honggang's side. He didn't need to check the battle scene of the dead soul beast. He could guess the situation just by sensing the energy changes around him perhaps. Looking at the dead soul beasts with varying degrees of injuries after the battle, Chen Luo smiled and said, "Thank you for your hard work." All the dead soul beasts seemed very excited, even the mindless ghost demons and hell spiders were still full of fighting spirit. Their injuries were indeed serious. Chen Luo didn't waste too much time and immediately took them into the undead space. In the undead space, they could recover from their injuries faster, and it wouldn't take long for each of them to be alive again. Full of fighting spirit. From the beginning to the end, Chen Luo looked very calm, as if what he had just arrived was not a group of powerful people from the Wuhan Palace, but a group of guests from afar. After skillfully entertaining these guests, there was only a faint smile on his face. Period. Xiao Wu was not as calm as Chen Luo. After walking out of the stone house, he immediately glanced at the place where the two-horned giant python and the others were fighting the soul master of the Wuhan Palace. When he saw that everyone in the Wuhan Palace was really after leaving, I felt relieved. Even though Xiao Wu has been following Chen Luo for a while and has seen the power of the undead, when he really returns to the Douluo world, the existence of the title Douluo level is still extremely powerful in Xiao Wu's heart, especially the peak Douluo. Luo can bring her huge threats and invisible pressure. Seeing that the danger was easily eliminated, Xiao Wu finally breathed a sigh of relief. At this time, Xiao Wu also realized that she was a little too nervous. There were powerful beings everywhere around her. Even if two more peak Douluo came, what could she do to drive them away? Go out. If they don't fight to the death, they can even take them all. There's no need to be so nervous about small things. If Senior Gong's Hongfei and Black Curse weren't at war, those guys who come to disturb our lives would have to stay. Chen Luo naturally noticed the change in Xiao Wu's expression and immediately comforted him with a smile. Taking Xiao Wu into his arms, Chen Luo said with a smile, after eating the skewers, "Let's practice well. Tomorrow we will set off to Xiandao City." Going to Xiandao City? Where and why? Xiao Wu asked subconsciously. Chen Luo smiled and said, "Have you forgotten the 5-year agreement made by the Shrek monsters? Calculating the time, it may have passed the agreed time, but it may also be just in time." Chapter 279 Return to the Bone Burial Ground. Xiao Wu was quite happy when she heard that she would be able to meet the other Shrek monsters soon. Although her days at Shrek were not particularly perfect, at least they were happy and fulfilling every day. It would be a lie to say that I don't miss him at all. After all, I have stayed in Shrek Academy for so long and experienced so many things. Are you leaving tomorrow? Are you in such a hurry? When Xiao Wu heard about the 5-year appointment, a touching smile appeared on her pretty face, but she didn't know that she suddenly said such a sentence. Chen Luo glanced at Xiao Wu with some confusion. "What, do you have something to deal with?" Xiao Wu immediately shook her head, with some doubts in her eyes. "I heard from Senior Gong's Honggang, aren't you planning to go to the Bone Burial Ground to take a look again tomorrow?" "Okay." Chen Luo asked, "When did I say that?" "Then I don't know." Xiao Wu shrugged. Chen Luo then looked at Gong's Honggang, who was not far away. After Gong's Honggang noticed Chen Luo's eyes, he immediately came over and said, Boss, what are your plans? Chen Luo then talked about what he had just heard from Xiao Wu about going to the burial ground. Guangzhongyang immediately explained after hearing the words. This is what my elder brother suggested. He said that the strength of the two-horned python is quite good. Let's go to the bone burial ground to see if we can pick up a soul beast like the two-horned python. It doesn't matter even if it's a little bit short. The bone burial ground has always been there. Its special environment has not changed since the last time we went there. 5 years have passed, and there should be many powerful soul beasts waiting to die there. After hearing this, Chen Luo nodded lightly. Then let's go there tomorrow. Then he looked at Xiao Wu. The trip to Xiandao City will be postponed. It's okay, just take me with you when you go to the bone burial ground. Xiao Wu smiled slightly excitedly. It can be seen that Xiao Wu also likes adventure experience and other things, especially after returning from Sword Tomb. She often asked Chen Luo if there were any other interesting experience treasures. Chen Luo has not informed Xiao Wu about going to Poseidon Island for the time being. The time is not yet enough. He will wait until he goes to Xiandao City. Seeing Xiao Wu's excited look, Chen Luo smiled and nodded, no problem. There is no danger in the bone burial ground. The most dangerous soul beast that is over 10 years old, the purgatory demon spider Kylie, has died and has turned into Chen Luo's 6th soul ring. Even if the special bone burial ground still exists, there is no danger anymore, and you can easily enter the real burial ground. Mainly with the presence of Arlene, the 9-tailed demon fox, any situation encountered in the bone burial ground can be easily solved. Of course, this premise is that it is in that special bone burial ground. The real burial place is relatively safe and cannot use Arlene's strength and ability. After experiencing an episode in the morning when a group of spirit masters from the spirit hall attacked, the central area of the Stardao forest returned to calm. Chen Luo and Xiao Wu spent their time practicing. The crazy cultivator Guangzhongyang returned to the dead space to practice, as did the no cultivator Yu Yao. While Liang Hao is still studying his models. With a continuous development of his interests and hobbies, he is also further improving his control over stones. Duan Xiaoyu, Arlen and Li Feng by Anlu controlled by Anan, the 4 of them played mahjong all afternoon. Anan controlled 2 undead at the same time, which made him tired, and was scolded for deliberately giving away cards, but in the end he still couldn't stand up to the 3 missing ones. Fortunately, even if Li Feng and Bai and Lu have no intelligence, their learning ability is very strong. After playing a few rounds of mahjong, they can barely be regarded as advanced human machine, and they can finally recharge their batteries. Chen Luo's cultural invasion was well done, and everything from playing mahjong to fighting landlords was arranged. Some undead souls with little motivation could use these novelties to relax and kill time when they were bored. Even people as powerful as Gong Zhongfei and Heiju have gradually lost their self-control and are immersed in chess and unable to extricate themselves. After all, both of them are at the peak Douluo level. Many times, strength represents ability, and luck is always in the minority. For them to be able to grow to this point, there is no doubt about their ability. From the moment they came into contact with chess to mastering it, they both learned quickly. Now, they have at least, thoughts on every move they make. Chen Luo could still guide these 2 big guys on a few moves at the beginning, but now he is no longer on the same level as them. Early the next morning, Chen Luo and his party set out for the burial ground. He did not bring all the dead souls with him. Li Feng, Bai Lu and his wife stayed by the small lake. The arrangement was basically the same as last time, except that Xiao Wu was also brought with him. The reason why Li Feng and Bai Lu were left behind was mainly to prevent more extreme situations from happening. In case Wuhan Palace sent more people to kill them, there was always some protection, and it was also useful to go to the burial ground. There aren't that many people, and the danger there has been eliminated. As long as Aaron and Gongzhong fly away, the other undead are basically used as fill-in. Of course, bringing all the dead souls with you will always provide more protection. Chen Luo's current necromancy space has enough vacancies for necromancers, and it will not be a problem to bring all the necromancers with him. Traveling smoothly along the way, Chen Luo and the others soon arrived at the area where the bone burial ground was located. When they came to the abyss, they all felt somewhat in awe when they stared into the abyss. When you gaze into the abyss gazes into you. Just like the last time he went to the bone burial ground under the abyss, Guangzhongfei activated his martial spirit true form and took everyone to fly with their swords. In fact, There are not many everyone here. For the sake of convenience, Chen Luo took most of the undead into the undead space. Currently, the only ones flying with this sword were Chen Luo, Xiao Wu, Guangzhonggang, Lin, and Gongzhongfei, who was controlling the Demon Slayer sword. After everyone stepped onto the Demon Slayer sword, they immediately flew towards the abyss. The last time they entered the abyss, Chen Luo and the others entered a very special space, faced many doors, and were finally transported to various worlds behind the doors. But this time, Chen Luo and the others did not encounter that situation again, and arrived at the burial ground under the abyss very smoothly. 5 years have passed, and the burial ground has not changed much, except that there are many fresh bones. Walking inside, you can see many complete soul beast corpses. Compared with the last time I came here, the number of soul beast corpses has been reduced by 90.00%. Walking on the road, you can only see a few soul beast corpses here and there. Even if you go to a place where the soul beast corpses are densely packed, there are only a few. The corpses of 10 soul beasts were far less exaggerated than the last time. After having the experience of awakening soul beast corpses last time, Chen Luo failed to revive them several times, and without any thought, he began to use hunting souls to squeeze out the last value of these soul beast corpses, and further improve himself. The power of the soul, even if this improvement is minimal, is still better than nothing. When he came to the place where the soul beast corpses were densely packed, Chen Luo began his treasure hunt. Chapter 280 Undead Cultivation Plan. I didn't expect that so many soul beasts in the Star Forest would end up here, and I didn't see anything special. I really don't know why they were so crazy. Wouldn't it be nice to spend the last period of time quietly? After arriving at the bone burial ground and continuing to move forward in the valley, Xiao Wu had already started to frown slightly when he saw the corpses of the soul beasts. When she came to the corpses of many soul beasts, Xiao Wu finally couldn't help but sigh. Guangzhonggang smiled and said, "The so-called beauty is described by many people. When they really step into the so-called beauty, they will most likely find that it is not what they want, and it will be like being deceived. Likewise, these soul beasts have all been deceived. When we came here last time, we also saw part of what these soul beasts looked like when they finally dissipated. They were all extremely ferocious, and there was no satisfaction in sight. Some were just relief after suffering extreme pain. Although there are some soul beasts who seem to really get the happiness they want, they are only a very small number, and they have only been deceived into another place. It is not an exaggeration to call that place hell. We went through hell last time to get here." Tisk, tisk, tisk. Guangzhonggang, when did you become so good at speaking? Duan Xiaoyu said with a smile. Guangzhonggang said angrily, "Look at what you said, brother has always been very deep, okay? Ha, this is the funniest joke I've heard this year." Duan Xiaoyu curled his lips. While listening to what Guangzhonggang said, Xiao Wu looked at the soul beast corpses thoughtfully. Guangzhongfei stood calmly among the corpses of the soul beasts. As long as any changes occurred, he would be able to solve them as quickly as possible. Black Curse is pestering the nine-tailed demon fox Arlen for advice on creating illusions. Since everyone came back from the sword tomb, Black Curse, in addition to playing chess with Gongzhongfei every day, is asking the nine-tailed demon fox Arlen for advice. Lin asked for advice on creating illusions. A huge man with a height of more than 2 meters lowered his head and smiled, and humbly asked a petite and cute girl for advice. This scene made people find it interesting. At this time, while Liang Hao had once again demonstrated his 3 bedrooms and 1 living room skills in the bone burial ground, and built a comfortable residence and resting place for everyone at an extremely fast speed. It will not be a problem to check in here for a long time in the future. I don't know how the soul beasts who fell into the abyss and came here will react when they see these strange buildings. Most of the dead souls stay in the dead soul space, and all the dead soul beasts are in the dead soul space. The dead soul beasts are all too big, and they are a bit crowded outside, which is unnecessary. Under the gaze of everyone, Chen Luo quickly found the first suitable target and immediately revived it. The process of awakening was not smooth and ended in failure, but it did not discourage Chen Luo. Instead, it made Chen Luo even more motivated. Because this awakening has given Chen Luo hope, he is only the last step away from awakening his target. The last step is for the undead to wake up on its own. The target chosen by Chen Luo has a very strong will to die. Even though it has all the conditions and opportunities to wake up again, in the end it still gives up on its own and turns into ghost. A burst of light and shadow dissipated. There are only a few processes in awakening. The first is to inject energy, then to establish contact, and finally the undead wakes up on its own. Generally speaking, there will be no mistakes in this last step. As long as the connection is established, the undead has basically written Chen Luo's name. But this is a burial ground after all, and everything cannot be judged by common sense. If Chen Luo remembered correctly, he had already encountered this kind of situation the last time he was in the bone burial ground. It was only after this kind of situation appeared that he gradually moved towards success. As long as there is a possibility for the undead to wake up, that means there is hope. Chen Luo quickly began to look for the next target. He has a strong sense of the undead. After experiencing the bone burial ground and getting a huge improvement in the sword tomb, Chen Luo's sense of touch has now reached a very high level. Terrible. The next target was quickly found, and Chen Luo began to revive it. The target was a 3-year-old man-faced demon spider. When he saw the man-faced demon spider, Chen Luo was a little surprised that such a cunning existence actually came here to put an end to his life. The 3-year-old man-faced demon spider is already rare. Such evil soul beasts are notorious and are the mortal enemies of all soul beasts. Many soul beast cubs died under the man-faced demon spider's spider spear. Similarly, many weak human-faced demon spiders died at the feet of powerful soul beasts. The process of awakening the man-faced demon spider was relatively smooth. Chen Luo successfully revived the man-faced demon spider without spending too much energy. This extremely intelligent soul beast, after experiencing death, was given the opportunity to be resurrected. It had to seize it firmly for fear of missing it. It is also because the man-faced demon spider has a strong desire to survive, so only then could Chen Luo resurrect him so smoothly. The total time it took to wake up was less than 1 minute, which was almost breaking Chen Luo's record for the fastest awakening goal. Chen Luo's ability to awaken the man-faced demon spider so smoothly and quickly is not only closely related to the man-faced demon spider's desire for survival, but also has a greater relationship to the special environment of the bone burial ground. If you encounter a target that is easy to awaken in the bone burial ground, you can complete the awakening very smoothly and quickly. If you encounter a goal that is difficult to awaken, no matter how hard you try, it will be in vain. Even if you see hope of success, failure is already doomed. The 3-year-old man-faced demon spider is not particularly old, but its growth limit is considerable, and it also retains a trace of intelligence. It is not a complete undead. This is very good. The man-faced demon spider is half as bad as it has something to do with its cunning. If it becomes a complete undead, it will be equivalent to being half disabled and its combat effectiveness will be greatly reduced. It seems that my luck is good. Chen Luo rejoiced in his heart that his goal was not only limited to reviving the dead soul beasts, but also to select them. If there are some soul beasts with little growth potential, they will only be used to fill up their numbers after awakening, and will not have much effect. Be a cannon fodder? Chen Luo doesn't need cannon fodder, he wants elites. For those soul beasts with no potential, Chen Luo would directly use soul hunting on them to extract the last value from them. For soul beasts with development prospects, Chen Luo would try to revive them. There seemed to be a lot of soul beast corpses in this gathering place of soul beast corpses, but in fact there were not many. Chen Luo disposed of all the soul beast corpses in a short time. Those without potential were directly used to drain the value of the dead souls, while those with potential were awakened. In the end, a total of 3 new dead soul beasts were harvested, including the man-faced demon spider. Chapter 281 The Dead Soul Beast That Grows into Stars. If Chen Luo were asked to rate the growth potential of his newly harvested dead soul beast, with 5 stars being the full level, then the human-faced demon spider could gain 3.5 stars. The growth potential of the human-faced demon spider is good, but no matter how much it grows, the purgatory spider Emperor Kylie only has 1 level beyond 10 years. If the human-faced demon spider wants to break through to a 10-year-old soul beast, it must prepare a soul beast for it. The death badge is pretty much the same, otherwise the man-faced demon spider's potential would break through the sky and reach the 8-year level. The other 2 dead soul beasts Chen Luo harvested were the 7-star wolf and the golden giant ape, with levels of 5 years and 6 years respectively. Whether it is the 7-star wolf or the golden giant ape, it is a huge surprise for Chen Luo. Their current strength is not bad, and they can fully serve as the main output in the dead soul beast team, And their growth potential is even more exciting. The 7-star wolves can absorb the power of stars to continuously improve their strength. As long as their bodies are strong enough, they can continue to improve themselves by absorbing the power of stars. It is only a matter of time before they can break through the 10-year-old soul beast, and even the 10-year-old soul beast cannot possible. But this is only a theoretical possibility, and the reality is extremely cruel. 7-star wolves need a strong body, but they are born with very average bodies. There are few 7-star wolves with strong bodies, and they can basically break through to more than 5 years. Being able to absorb the power of the stars is the unique ability of the 7-star wolves, which creates unlimited possibilities for them. The body is the key to the 7-star wolves, which determines their final upper limit. It can even be said to be their shortcoming. If there were no physical limitations, the 7-star wolf would definitely be the overlord among the soul beasts. It is precisely because of so many factors that the 7-star wolf occasionally stands out among the soul beasts, but most of the time it is mediocre. No matter where it is, strength speaks for itself. No matter how strong your so-called theoretical ability is, there is no if you talk about your real strength, everything will be nonsense. The identity of the undead can just help the 7-star wolf make up for its physical shortcomings. The body of the undead has infinite possibilities, so that the 7-star wolf is no longer limited by the body and gives the 7-star wolf unlimited possibilities. If Chen Luo were to rate the growth potential of the 7-star wolf, it would be a full star. After the 7-star wolf has the identity and characteristics of the undead, everything else will be left to time. Chen Luo rated the growth potential of the golden giant ape at 4.5 stars. The golden ape has a bloodline similar to that of the titan ape, and is slightly inferior to the titan ape, so it can only be rated 4.5 stars, otherwise it would be a proper 5 stars. As the name suggests on the surface, the biggest characteristic of the golden ape is that it can transform into golden form, has nearly invincible defense, and is comparable to the titan ape in strength. It's a pity that the golden form cannot last for long, and there are still more terrifying negative effects, so it is difficult for the golden giant apes to grow up. When they use the golden form, they are at their strongest, and they use up the golden form. After taking the golden form, it is time for them to be close to death. When you are strong, everyone is naturally afraid of you, but once you are weak, everyone wants to step on you. The golden giant ape was relatively famous many years ago, but as time goes by, their number is getting smaller and smaller. Now they are the same legendary soul beasts as the titan giant ape, and they are not as powerful as the titan giant ape. So famous. The body of the undead can make the golden giant ape immune to negative effects to the greatest extent after turning on the golden form. This will undoubtedly greatly improve the golden giant ape's combat effectiveness. It is a pity that the golden giant ape failed to preserve his intelligence and became a complete undead. But this is not a big problem. A big guy like the golden ape doesn't need much brains to start a fight. With the addition of the human-faced demon spider, the 7-star wolf and the golden giant ape, Chen Luo's undead team became stronger, especially the dead soul beasts that were supplied again. All undead souls welcome new undead souls to join, but one dead soul beast is not very friendly. Even though it has lost its intelligence, it still retains its instinctive hostility. It's not another dead soul beast, it's the hell demon spider. As soon as the hell demon spider saw the human-faced demon spider, it wanted to rush forward and devour it immediately. If there was no special connection between the undead, the human-faced demon spider would probably already be in the belly of the hell demon spider at this time. Even with such a special connection, the hell demon spider also released extremely strong hostility. Fortunately, there is an interval between the undead space. Each undead is alone in his own undead space, and there will be no cross-level fighting. Otherwise, the undead space will be very lively at this time. I didn't expect that I would gain so much from my second visit to the bone burial ground. It seems that the bone burial ground can really be used as a fixed location to gain benefits. Chen Luo said with a smile. At this time, he had already met all the undead. The dead soul beasts such as the human-faced demon spider, the 7-star wolf, and the golden giant ape have already been admitted into the dead soul space. They have just greeted everyone, and now they are asked to familiarize themselves with their new home. Guangshongyang smiled and said, "It would be great if there was a place like the bone burial ground, but instead of soul beasts, soul masters are buried. Then our team of dead soul masters can grow stronger." "Yes," Guangshongfei said calmly. Guang's Hongyang said, "Where? Brother, is there really such a treasure? Why didn't you tell me earlier?" Guang's Huangfei's voice also attracted the attention of others. At this time, everyone's eyes were focused on Guang's Hongfei, waiting for Guang's Hongfei to tell him about a mysterious location. Guang's Hongfei still looked very calm and said slowly, "Douluo Hall. Guang's Hongyang. Chen Luo. Xiao Wu. Other dead souls who know about Wuhan Palace and Douluo Palace." In fact, Guang's Hongfei was right. The Douluo Palace was indeed similar to the Bone Burial Ground, but compared to the Bone Burial Ground, the Douluo Palace was more difficult to conquer, and even almost impossible to conquer. Apart from anything else, do you want to know about level 99 Extreme Douluo Jindaoliu? Perhaps with Chen Luo's current lineup, they have the capital to compete with Jindaoliu, but if they really fight, Chen Luo and the others will basically fail. When a person's strength reaches the point where he is close to a god, no matter how many people he has, he will not be able to exert any advantage. Others can easily kill most of them by just raising their hands, and even those who are slightly stronger can easily kill them. Besides, is there really only one Jindaoliu in Wuhan Palace? Even if the Wuhan Palace does not send reinforcements, the Douluo Palace is the place of faith for most soul masters in the world. If anyone dares to offend the Douluo Palace, they will definitely be attacked by a group of people. The difficulty is quite high, but it is also extremely tempting. At least Chen Luo is tempted. Sooner or later, he will have the day to attack His Highness Douluo. Chapter 282 is late. Code words, code words, code words, update now, refresh later. Tang Chen, a character in the otherworldly continent fantasy novel Douluo and its derivative works written by the third son of the Tang family, the previous sect leader of the Haoshan sect, the inheritor of the Shura god, and the killing king of the city of killing martial spirit Haoshan Hammer, a level 99 attack type demigod peerless Douluo, titled Haoshan, 15, and nicknamed Invincible on the Ground, 21. Tang Chen and Jindaoliu, the adjudicator elder of Wuhan Palace, are known as the two mountains in the Soul Master world. They once traveled to Poseidon Island 10, together and fell in love with Boseixi, the high priest of Poseidon Island, because he misunderstood the meaning of Boseixi's obscure confession. Tang Chen made a promise: "I will never return until I become a god." 11. Tang Chen found the inheritance of God Shura in the city of killing, but was defeated by the secret hand of God Rakshasa in the assessment and was parasitized by the blood-red nine-headed bat king, became the killing king of the killing city. 15. 1, 10, 15, 99, 15. Contents: 1 role image, identity, background, appearance and clothing, character traits, 2 character abilities, martial soul, secret skill, field artifact, 3 interpersonal relationships, 4 role experience, Haoshan Douluo, promise of becoming a god king of killing immortal soul, 5 role evaluation, character image, editing and broadcasting, identity, background. Tang Chen is the leader of the Haoshan sect. He is the most powerful Haoshan Douluo in the history of the Haoshan sect and leads the sect to the top spot on the world. 29. Together with Jindaoliu, the adjudicator elder of Wuhan Palace, they are called the two mountains of the Soul Master world, which means the insurmountable peaks. After retiring from the world of Soul Masters, Tang Chen was invited by Jindaoliu to venture into Poseidon Island with him 10, and thus fell in love with Boseixi, the high priest of Poseidon Island. Boseixi chose Tang Chen among the two, but because of her pride, she did not express her favorability, which led to Tang Chen misunderstanding and getting lost in the killing city during the Shura divine examination. 22. Appearance and clothing. Tang Chen is tall 14, with black hair and black eyes, handsome appearance 12, deep eyes, and an old and thick voice, like a majestic old man. 15. As the king of slaughter, Tang Chen had a deep and sharp voice, wore a blood-colored robe, and his whole body was wrapped in a huge scarlet cloak with a stand-up color. The face is pale 14, and looks like a middle-aged man. 15. With blood-red hair and eyes. Looking from a distance, it looks like a shadow of blood. 14. 7 years later, many mysterious bloodlines appeared on Tang Chen's pale skin. There was also a sword-shaped magic pattern on his forehead, and a pair of huge blood-red wings spread outward from his back. 12. Character traits. Tang Chen was wise, but he was too obsessed with cultivation, which led to him neglecting many other things. Tang Chen once pursued Boseixi with Jindaoliu. Boseixi also developed a liking for Tang Chen and secretly confessed to Tang Chen. After hearing this, Jindaoliu left voluntarily, but Tang Chen ignored the meaning of Boseixi's words, and instead seriously made a promise to Boseixi that he would only return after becoming a god. causing Bo Saxi to stay alone in the boudoir for decades, also out of his own pride and man's dignity. Even if Tang Chen later understood the meaning of Bo Saxi's words, he was unwilling to break his promise and go back to find her. 11. Editing and broadcasting of character abilities. Martial Soul Clear Sky Hammer. Clear Sky Hammer. Tang Chen's martial spirit is the Clear Sky Hammer, which can only be possessed by the direct bloodline of the Clear Sky sect. 2. The Clear Sky Hammer is known as the best martial spirit in the world. 3. In terms of dominance, power, and explosive power, the Clear Sky Hammer can take the top spot among the known martial arts in the Soul Master world. 4. Tang Chen's Clear Sky Hammer follows a balanced approach. Although his Clear Sky Hammer is very domineering, it relies more on the combination of its own powerful soul power and skills. The attacks are so wonderful that the opponent is often unable to resist. 16. 99. 95,969,520.00%. 979,620.00%. 979,830.00%. 989,940.00%. 95. 30. 95. 5. Number 1. 15. Among the 3 peerless Douluo in the world, Tang Chen is the only one who has reached level 99 by relying on his own strength. He is also the only one who is expected to become a god by relying on his own strength. He reached level 99 3 years earlier than Poseidon without taking advantage of geographical advantages. Tang Chen was the strongest among the 3. 11. Secret Skill. Unique Skill Effect. Chaos Cloak Hammer. One of the most powerful casting techniques that can drive out metal impurities when the heart is beating rapidly. The mana starts from the 2 calves, and the power is uploaded to the thighs, through the waist, back, and arms, and finally released with full strength. 6-7. Use your body to drive the hammer to circle around at the moment when the hammer is about to reach its highest point. Use the rebound force generated by the collision between the hammer and the metal to turn it into the power of your next blow. After that, the power of each blow exceeds that of the user full strength. Use this technique to swing 81 hammers in a row to directly shape a piece of pig iron into what you want. 8-9. When used in actual combat, the random cloak hammer method can temporarily accumulate the power of the attack at one point. The power of each hammer will be stronger than the previous hammer, and finally it will be released in one breath after 81-20 hammers. The disadvantage is that it requires a long accumulation process. Haoshan Jojo. The Clear Sky Hammer has 9 unique power generating techniques, each of which has its own characteristics compared with this somewhat useless random cloak hammering technique. The Haoshan Sect's real secret skill. The Haoshan 9 secret skills are truly powerful abilities that can be used in actual combat even among the direct disciples of the Haoshan sect. Not everyone can teach the 9 arts. Only with the approval of the sect master and elders can they be taught. 18. Awesome Hammer. Haoshan Douluo's exclusive training method, a magical skill that only gods can perfectly perform. The requirements for cultivators are extremely high. If you are not a gifted genius, you will never be able to succeed in cultivation, and your life will be in danger. Theoretically speaking, it means condensing all one's soul rings into one, injecting them all into the Clear Sky Hammer, turning them into the purest strength and attack power, forcibly breaking through all constraints, and exerting a powerful strength that surpasses one's own soul power. It is the root of defeating 10 guilds with 1-4-17. The Great Sumeru Hammer has a secret technique called Ring Explosion. By blowing up the soul ring, the power of the soul ring is integrated into the attack, creating a powerful force far beyond its own. This is the desperate skill of the Great Sumeru Hammer. Each soul ring launches an attack. When all the soul rings have passed through the ring explosion, the user himself will also enter a weak state. 19. Field. Chapter 283. It's not too late. I'm coding. Just refresh it later. Bibi Dong is the youngest pope in the history of the Spirit Hall. She is known as the most powerful leader in the history of the Spirit Hall. 9, and the most outstanding pope in history. 17. The founder of the Spirit Empire and the first Empress. 1 and 2, one of the killing gods of the Slaughter City. 18. The second person in history to have twin spirits. 8. The first person to solve the backlash of twin spirits. 10. The youngest title Douluo in history before Tang San and the youngest peak level 99 Douluo. 19. Because the Spirit Hall once hunted down Tang San's mother, the 100,000-year-old Blue-Silver Emperor Yin, and Xiao Wu's mother, the 100,000-year-old soft-bone rabbit. 20-21, the Spirit Empire's steps to unify the continent were blocked by the Tang sect. 22. In the end, Bibidong died in Jialing Pass, and the Spirit Empire was destroyed too. Animated image appearance and clothing Pope of Wuhan Palace Bibidong 6 photos. Bibidong was not tall, and the bright golden long dress fit perfectly from head to toe. The dazzling dress shone with precious lights, and there were more than 100 red, blue and gold gemstones on it. The 9 curved purple gold crown on the top of the head is even more glorious, and he holds a 2-meter-long scepter inlaid with countless precious stones. Fair skin and almost perfect face make her look so different. Especially the intangible nobility and holiness that exudes from the body, it is even more unbearable to give birth to the emotion of worship. Bibidong is so stunningly beautiful, noble, elegant, and tranquil. It seems that all kinds of beautiful words can be applied to this woman. Although she is no longer young, the traces of time do not seem to have left on her. 9:23. Rakshasa Bibidong's appearance has changed greatly. She used to be so noble and stunning, but after becoming a god, Bibidong only exudes a rich and strong evil aura. It is not an exaggeration to describe her with a green face and fangs. The cyan face is in sharp contrast to the purple armor. Her armor is covered with a layer of purple energy with an evil flavor. 4 huge scythes extend from both sides of her back. 4. Character traits. Bibidong is soft on the outside, strong but on the inside, to put herself above herself. 24. Bibidong has always been approachable to the outside world, and only a master can make waves in her heart. 25. But even so, Bibidong Ju is the one who rules the Wuhan Palace and strives to achieve the unfinished goals and ambitions of his predecessors. His personal feelings will not affect the overall situation. 26. Bibidong 2 photos. Bibidong is a perfectionist. In order to reach the limit of the soul ring ratio of the second martial spirit, she concealed the existence of the second martial spirit until she succeeded to the position of Pope and could obtain the most resources. A secret, and this character also made Bibidong the strongest Pope in the history of Wuhan Palace. 10. Bibidong is not someone who indulges her emotions. She is good at forbearing, whether it is her body being taken away by her teacher Jin's Unji 27, or she has a peak soul power of level 99 but is deflated in the hands of Tang Hao due to the restrictions of the Rakshasa divine examination. 19:28. She remained unmoved and just waited to settle the matter later. Bibidong will directly kill subordinates who are not doing their job well according to her temper. However, rather than following her temper, she considers the overall situation more and will kill because of the needs of the plan. 29. Jin Zunji is the shadow of Bibidong's life. His behavior of destroying Bibidong's feelings made Bibidong's heart swallowed up by evil. 30. And became extremely extreme. He believed that every life in the world Bibidong reached the peak soul power of level 99 very early, and was the most invincible on the ground after Tang Chen. However, due to the restrictions of the 9 tests of Rakshasa, Bibidong could not use all her soul power, so she could only exert the strength of level 98. 4. 19:32-33. The reason why Bibidong was able to reach level 99 in her 30s was largely due to the fact that her twin martial spirits could improve their soul power by absorbing the soul rings of powerful soul beasts. 24:34. After completing the 9 Rakshasa exams, Bibidong broke through level 99, surpassed the rules 35, and became a first-level god, Rakshasa God. 4. Bibidong received the inheritance at level 99, so her divine power is far stronger than that of ordinary first-level gods. 34. Charge of evil thoughts, controls the power of evil, and restricts each other with a god Xiao, who is in charge of killing. 36. The Rakshasa god can obtain the darkest and most evil thoughts from living or dead creatures, and condense them into the power of the Rakshasa god. Little, it requires huge divine thoughts to expel it. 34. Martial soul. Bibidong is a twin martial spirit. Both martial spirits are demonic spider-like martial spirits. She is the spider king among demonic spiders and the emperor of insect-like soul beasts. 7. Spiders are not insects, but the original text refers to insect-like spirits. Subject to the original animal classification. Bibidong can directly switch the martial soul's true body, instead of needing to take back the martial soul released true body, switch martial souls, and then cast the second martial soul's true body. 19. Like ordinary twin martial arts. The biggest disadvantage of twin martial souls is that the number of soul rings exceeding that of ordinary soul masters results in their own attributes increasing too much, and the body cannot bear it. Bibidong used a special method to share her excessively improved attributes, So she started practicing 2 martial arts at the same time very early. 10. Skin of the upper body is covered with a layer of purple-black armor, and even the face is covered by a carapace under the eyes. There are also 4 small eyes that have grown out when used. The legs disappear and the abdomen turns into a huge round sphere downwards. 8 thick long legs grew from the sphere, driving her body to walk as fast as flying. There were large green hairs growing on them and disgusting mucus when dripping to the ground. It constantly makes a popping sound and is strongly corroded. Let BB Dong look like a huge poisonous spider. 6. The Death Spider King's soul ring ratio is yellow, purple, purple, black, 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 red. 6, of which the first, second, and fifth soul skills are not mentioned in the original work. Death Spider King serial number soul skills ability third soul skill Death Web. Binding deep purple spider webs are spewed out, covering the enemy with dense purple poisonous gas. The spider webs will expand when flying towards the opponent in the air, and then entangle the enemy. The number of spider webs spewed by this skill is determined by the user. The stronger it is, the more and bigger the spider webs it spits out. After reaching the level of Tidal Douluo, even huge soul beasts like Azure Bull Python or Titan Giant Ape are enough to entangle them. 7. The fourth soul skill Thorn Spider Armor with single target defense skills. Long purple-black thorns over 1 meter in length are densely covered every part of BB Dong's body. The purple carapace on her body has also become extra thick, but it does not affect her own speed. At the same time, it comes with a stinger, is highly poisonous and has strong defensive power. 7. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 284 I Won't Fight You. Before Chen Luo went to the Sword Tomb, he had met Tang San on the road. Tang San's appearance had changed by then, so Chen Luo wasn't too surprised when he saw Tang San again. After Tang San appeared, other Shrek little monsters appeared one after another. 5 years have passed, and everyone has changed a lot. The boys have become taller, and the girls have become more graceful, with great improvements in appearance and figure. Among them, the one whose appearance has improved the most is undoubtedly Tang San. He's equivalent to changing his face. The original Tang San's appearance was unremarkable, and it was hard to find him among the shameful ones. Today's Tang San can also be regarded as beautiful. The man, in terms of appearance, can be regarded as the most handsome among all the people in Shrek, which is just a little bit worse than Chen Luo. The one who has improved the most in terms of figure is Zhu Xiuqing. It is hard to imagine how Zhu Xiuqing has grown. His pretty face is extremely delicate, but his figure is already mature. The only one who hasn't changed is Ma Hongjin. 5 years ago, Ma Hongjin's height and weight were the same. 5 years later, Ma Hongjin is still the same, almost like a ball. Chen Luo, we thought you had forgotten your 5-year agreement and would never come to Shrek Academy again. Finally, we are waiting for you. Daimyo smiled and said, 5 years have passed. Daimyo has become more and more calm, and his whole body exudes the aura of nobility. At this time, Ma Hongjin squeezed to Chen Luo's side, pulled Chen Luo to his side, and glanced at Xiao Wu with some resentment. Fifth sister, you have been sleeping with Chen Luo for 5 years, it's your turn. Let's do it. Xiao Wu's pretty face turned red immediately and she glared at Ma Hongjin. Who is your fifth sister? Don't talk nonsense. Chen Luo smiled helplessly. The weather is quite hot, so you'd better not get together. Ma Hongjin said, Chen Luo, you have changed. Why didn't you say it was hot when you were making love to Xiao just now? I just came closer and you said it was hot. Oh, as time goes by, the feelings fade away. Chen Luo. Okay, you damn fat man, stop being so disgusting. Daimyo glanced at Ma Hongjin angrily, then greeted Chen Luo and Xiao Wu with a smile. We are finally here, let's have a dinner together, I'll treat you. Tang San suddenly said, there's still one missing. Hearing this, everyone paused for a moment, and Ma Hongjin sighed, yes, there's still one missing. I don't know what is going on with that Oscar guy now. Ningrongrong never spoke and seemed very silent. 5 years later, Ningrongrong became more and more beautiful, and her noble temperament became more and more obvious. It was precisely because of Oscar's incident that Ningrongrong became more and more beautiful. Some are depressed and in a very low mood. Xiao Wu leaned over and didn't ask any questions, but stayed by Ning Rongrong's side silently. Ning Rongrong was silent for a while, then took the initiative to speak and said slowly, 5 years ago, he told me that he wanted to prove himself, then left, and never came back again. Why is he so stupid? Doesn't he know that the rules can be changed? Who said that auxiliary soul masters can't be together? I have already mustered up the courage to break this rule, but he actually ran away. When he comes back, I will teach him a lesson. At the beginning of the conversation, Ning Rongrong was in a very low mood. As the story continued, Ning Rongrong became more and more forceful, and in the end she even gritted her teeth. Shrek's other little monsters comforted them with words, while those who didn't comforted them with comforting glances. It's okay, Rongrong. When Oscar comes back, we will help you teach him a lesson. Ma Hongjin said. I didn't expect Xiao to be so brave. He went out alone for Rongrong. He is a food-type soul master. But it's okay. Xiao should be back soon. Daimyo by Dao. Only Chen Luo's eyes had some other color. That was surprise. In Chen Luo's memory, Oscar left the Kibao Glazed sect mainly because of the sect regulations of the Kibao Glazed sect. Auxiliary soul masters could not be together. And this is also related to Ning Rongrong's choice. Ning Rongrong was not firm enough, so Oscar left the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. But the situation before her was obviously that Ning Rongrong was ready to face all difficulties, but Oscar ran away. The Ning Rongrong in this world has always been a very strong girl, and she is completely different from the delicate little princess Ning Rongrong in the book. When it comes to her love, Ning Rongrong has a very firm belief that no difficulty can stop her. Oscar's departure did not make Ning Rongrong resent Oscar, let alone give up on Oscar. It was just a little sad. It was a joyful thing for Ning Rongrong to see that his boy was willing to work hard to become stronger for his own sake. The reason why Ning Rongrong was unhappy was because Oscar left without saying goodbye, leaving her unprepared at all. The Oscar in the book is because Ning Rongrong is not determined enough, so he is determined to practice and improve himself. In the current situation, Oscar is probably because Ning Rongrong is too determined, so he is determined to become stronger. The pain and suffering on the road of love can make people grow rapidly. In the same way, the common progress of two people can also inspire each other to work harder and work hard for a better future for both of them. The Oscar here is much happier than the Oscar in the book. Everyone will fall in love with such a sensible and excellent future heir of the Kibao Glazed sect. The Oscar incident became a sideshow, and soon Chen Luo, Xiao and Shrek went outside the academy to have a dinner together. The dinner was naturally very happy. Everyone talked about their experiences in the past 5 years, only Chen Luo and Tang seemed relatively silent. The Sword Tomb and the Slaughter City are not topics that can be discussed casually. Xiao Wu didn't mention anything about the Sword Tomb. She only talked about eating, drinking and having fun with Chen Luo. Naturally, it was impossible to bring up the fact that her true identity was a soul beast. By the way, Chen Luo, what level are you at now? I've always been curious to what level you, a real monster, have grown to. Daimyo said with a smile. Chen Luo said calmly, I just reached level 79 a few days ago. Daimyo. Shrek crowd. I'll go, you really didn't disappoint me, you scared me again. Daimyo said with a very convinced smile. Chen Luo has never let us down when it comes to surprising us. Ma Hongjin also said with emotion. Tang smiled slightly and said, we originally planned to compete with you, but now it seems that we should forget it and not fight you. How to spell? Daimyo smiled bitterly and said, if this kid's strength is only a few levels higher than ours, we can barely compete with him, but the difference is 1 level, so forget it, I don't want to be abused. Chapter 285 Situation and Development. Of course, the dinner party was not just Chen Luo and Shrek's little monsters, but also several teachers from Shrek Academy. Among them, Zhao Wuji must be among them. Flanders is also here, and there are several teachers from Shrek Academy who have followed all the way from Soto City, but Yu Xiagang and Liu Erlong are nowhere to be seen. I heard from Zhao Wuji that Yu Xiagang and Liu Erlong were busy with a Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family, and something happened to the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family. Through Flanders and Zhao Wuji's descriptions, Chen Luo had a rough understanding of the current development of Douluo world. Similar to the plot on the book, both the Kibao Glazed sect and the Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus family were attacked by the Wuhan Palace. Among them, the Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus family was the most tragic. Except for some direct disciples, The entire family was wiped out. The demonic claw of Wuhan Palace finally started to move, and just one move made the entire continent tremble. The Kibao Glazed sect and the Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus Rex clan were both the top 3 sects, but they were all attacked, and the losses were extremely heavy. This situation naturally made the entire Soul Master world panic. Anyone with a brain can easily guess that this is the work of Wu Hundian. Before the massacre started, Wu Hundian had always done a very good job, but after the massacre started, Wu Hundian could not clean his hands stained with blood. The situation in the Xiandao Empire is also very complicated. Emperor Zuai is about to die, and the entire empire is about to change to a new master. In such a turbulent situation, it is an extremely bad situation. When Chen Luo heard this, he knew that Jin Ringsu's plan had begun to be implemented. Jin Ringsu's transformed Zhu King had been lying in wait for so many years just for this last step. If Jin Ringsu successfully becomes the master of the Xiandao Empire, then the world truly belongs to the Spirit Hall. Unfortunately, Jin Ringsu is doomed to fail. The current development of the situation is completely consistent with the development in Chen Luo's impression. There may be some differences in time, but the general direction is on the right. There must be discrepancies in time, and it is impossible for every day to accurately match the plot on the book. Chen Luo's appearance itself has changed many things in Douluo world. Even if there are no major changes, there are already force majeure factors interfering with it. If the plot in the book is followed, the 5-year agreement took place before the soul hunting operation, and the soul hunting operation definitely took place before Chen Luo and the others returned from the sword tomb. Some events in time have changed, and they are destined to be unable to match the book, but the main development trend has not changed, and this is what Chen Luo can rely on. The Xiandao Empire is about to undergo palace changes, and Xiandao City is about to become lively, to be precise, the Xiandao Imperial Palace. As the old saying goes, Jin Ringsu is destined to fail. Even if Chen Luo doesn't interfere, Tang San will destroy Jin Ringsu's plan according to the normal plot development. After the change in Xiandao Palace, it was time to go to Poseidon Island. Chen Luo returned to Xiandao City not only for the so-called 5-year agreement, but also because he wanted to grasp the current turbulent situation and make arrangements for his next plan. Chen Luo's next plan is to go to Poseidon Island. His latest system task is to ask him to check in at Poseidon Island. Guang's Huangfei also recommended Poseidon Island to Chen Luo more than once, saying that Poseidon Island was on par with Jianzhong and even surpassed Jianzhong in terms of resources. They are all relics left by God, and resources must be provided. When Chen Luo's soul power level was raised to level, he did not wait for his new system tasks. According to the previous situation, the system tasks were refreshed after he broke through a major level, but when he reached level, but something changed. Chen Luo waited for a long time, but did not wait for the task to arrive. This is why Chen Luo chose to go to the sword tomb. System tasks can be interrupted, but experience cannot be interrupted. System tasks are nothing more than various experiences. When Chen Luo broke through to the Soul Saint level in the sword tomb, the new system task was finally refreshed. The task content was naturally to go to Poseidon Island to sign in and complete the specified sign-in task. At that time, Chen Luo was already in the process of training at the sword tomb, and it was impossible for him to give up his current training for the new system tasks. The sword tomb is also a miracle, and it is not bad in terms of resources. Of course, you must cherish the opportunity to gain experience. After leaving the sword tomb, Chen Luo began to prepare for going to Poseidon Island. He returned to the Star Dao Forest to see if the soul hunting operation was going on. This was mainly to determine the development of the current situation and to worry about the safety of the Azure Bull Python and Titan Giant Ape. Unexpectedly, after returning to the Star Forest, there would be unexpected gains. From now on, the Bone Burial Ground will be a must-visit place, but it will take a long time to visit. I don't know if I will have the chance to go to Sword Tomb again. I guess I will be close to the limit when I come back from Poseidon Island. The main purpose of coming to Xiandao City is one of them, the 5-year agreement is one of them, the development of the situation is 2 of them, and the precious vast sea universe shield used to go to Poseidon Island is 3 of them. The 5-year agreement went smoothly, and the development of the situation was exactly as it was in Chen Luo's memory. Now all he had to do was grasp the development of the situation and obtain the vast sea universe cover. The Xiandao Imperial Palace is about to change. The Xiandao Imperial Palace is in urgent need of a savior, and Chen Luo can act as this savior. According to the plot on the book, it was Tang San who rescued Emperor Zui, and then received many benefits from the Xiandao Empire, including the country's treasure, the vast sea universe shroud. Chen Luo wants to replace Tang San, or help Tang San complete all this, as long as he can successfully obtain the vast sea universe cover. Now, everything is under Chen Luo's control. Others don't know what the vast sea universe cover is, but Chen Luo knows that it is the heart of Poseidon, and there is still a trace of Poseidon's spiritual thoughts left in it. Chen Luo was not particularly interested in the inheritance of Poseidon. Especially after experiencing the sword tomb, Chen Luo also came up with the idea of becoming a god on his own. He did not need to inherit any god's throne, he wanted to create his own god. Putting aside Poseidon's inheritance, Poseidon's heart vast sea universe shield itself is an extremely powerful artifact. If you can use it for your own use, that would be the best. But Chen Luo himself was a little worried. He always felt that the vast sea cosmic shield had no chance with him and would eventually fall into Tang San's hands. That doesn't matter, the vast sea universe shield itself is just a tool to Chen Luo. After Tang San obtains it, it will be nothing more than a tool man. According to the normal development of the plot, the Shrek 7 monsters and the others will also go to Poseidon Island for training, and then he can go with a large army. The reason why Chen Luo is so obsessed with Poseidon Island is not only for his own system tasks, but also for the rich resources on Poseidon Island. His current soul power level is level 79, which is not far from level. If he can successfully go to Poseidon Island, with his qualifications, not to mention snatching Tang San's 9th Poseidon exam, he must have at least the top-level exam, right? Period. At that time, he can obtain the God-given soul ring, and then the color of his subsequent soul rings can be blood red. Chapter 286 Arrival as scheduled. The dinner party ended late at night. Chen Luo and Xiao Wu randomly found a hotel to stay in Xiandao City. The hotel was paid for by the extremely heroic boss Dai. Dai Mubei did not give Chen Luo a chance to refuse. If I choose a luxurious hotel for you, you will definitely not want it. If you choose the hotel yourself, you must be comfortable. Dai Mubei said with a smile. Chen Luo grinned. If I had known, I would have chosen the luxurious one. Dai Mubei smiled. It's not too late to change now. Haha, just kidding, you should go back and rest early. Xiandao City is not peaceful during this period, so you should be a little more careful. Chen Luo reminded. Dai Mubei looked very indifferent. It's interesting when something happens, otherwise it would be boring. I wish Dao Chang would be more chaotic today, ha 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 ha. Chen Luo still smiled and reminded, pay attention to safety. No. Dai Mubei raised his lips slightly, with you here, it's hard to think of anything going wrong. Chen Luo said, then you have to stay in an ordinary hotel like me, otherwise the distance will be too far and the rescue will not be so timely. Dai Mubei waved his hand slightly, then forget it, I really can't get used to it. Dai Mubei then said goodbye to Zhu Xiuqing and Chen Luo Xiaozi and went to their luxurious hotel. Boss Dai is still as heroic as ever. Xiao Wu said with a smile. Chen Luo nodded, that's necessary. By the way, you haven't been in Shrek Academy for many years, and you still have such a good relationship with Dai Mubei. Could it be that you secretly did bad things behind my back? Xiao Wu's big, watery eyes suddenly narrowed slightly and stared. With Chen Luo. Chen Luo smiled and said, it's not that Dai Mubei and I have a good relationship, it's that Dai Mubei has a good relationship with everyone. I'm really not good at communication. Let me socialize with people. I think it's easier to chat with the undead. What, you still don't believe in my character? A charming smile suddenly appeared on Xiao Wu's pretty face. Of course I believe it, but there still have to be proper procedures. Okay, boss, I can answer any questions you have at any time. Chen Luo said seriously. Seeing Chen Luo's serious look, Xiao Wu smiled even more happily. Okay, let's go up and sleep quickly. Okay, boss, I promise to complete the mission. Chen Luo said. Noon the next day. Chen Luo had just returned to the hotel from shopping with Xiao Wu. Before he could sit down, there was a knock on the hotel room door, followed by Tang San's voice. Chen Luo, are you there? Exist. Chen Luo immediately went to open the door. The door opened, and Tang San stood at the door with a calm expression. Are you interested in visiting Xiandao Palace? Tang San asked. Chen Luo pretended to hesitate, but finally nodded, no problem. Xiao Wu came over at this time. I want to go too. Tang San glanced at Chen Luo, who smiled slightly and said, Xiao Wu is also a soul emperor after all. He is qualified after all. If not, there is still me. Tang San then nodded, yes, as long as you are here, there won't be any problems. Xiao Wu had already noticed something was wrong at this time. How do I hear that the play you are talking about has a somewhat extraordinary meaning? Emperor Ziyi is completely dead. Xiao Wu asked. Although Xiao Wu always looked carefree on weekdays, in fact, her mind was also relatively delicate and she could see many things very clearly. Tang San nodded, yes. What can we change if we go? Xiao Wu curled her lips slightly. Tang San said, save his life? Xiao Wu laughed directly, saving people's lives, you are still so leisurely. Anyway, it doesn't have much to do with us. If you die, you die. If you can save, save. If you can't save, there's nothing you can do. If you rush over in a hurry, the chance of not being able to save will only be greater. Tang San said calmly. Xiao Wu gave Tang San a thumbs up, as expected of you, Tang San. Under the leadership of Tang San, Chen Luo and Xiao Wu quickly arrived at the entrance of Xiandao Palace. The entrance has been blocked by soldiers, and they all have extremely expressions on their faces. It can be seen from their expressions that no one can enter. Tang San was about to take action when a line of dark green smoke drifted over from nowhere and passed in front of the soldiers. Those soldiers all fell to the ground, losing their breath of life in just a few breaths. Seeing this strange scene, Tang San and Chen Luo both seemed very calm. Xiao Wu was just a little surprised, but he soon regained his composure. A tall and thin figure quietly emerged. It was Douluo. Douluo was slightly surprised when he saw Chen Luo, but his expression only changed in an instant. Come with me. Douluo said, with some anxiety in his voice. Many titled Douluo are indifferent to worldly affairs, but Douluo is a special one, as he cares more about the affairs of the Xiandao Empire's royal family. What can make Douluo anxious is that, in addition to Douluo's friendship with the Xiandao royal family, the development of the current situation also has a certain impact. If Emperor Zui is really gone, the entire Xiandao Empire will become chaotic. What is slightly better is that some turmoil occurs in Xiandao City, but Xiandao City at that time is no longer the Xiandao City it used to be, and the Xiandao Empire will also undergo major changes. Douluo was naturally aware of many things at this time, but was unable to make changes due to many factors. Things that Douluo couldn't change could be changed by others, so Douluo found Tang San. Tang San found Chen Luo. Besides Chen Luo, there was another person. Wait a minute, there are still people who haven't arrived yet. Tang San always looked very calm, as if what he was about to do had nothing to do with the words human life matters. It was really like going to the Xiandao Palace for a visit. Douluo glanced at Tang San helplessly and didn't say anything. He just raised his hand slightly, and another wave of dark green poisonous mist floated out, covering all the dead soldiers, followed by a burst of poisonous mist. With the sound of the sound, all the corpses were corroded cleanly. Except for some traces on the ground, the bones and clothing no longer existed. Chen Luo has been watching all this silently from behind. As he said, he is not good at socializing, especially with people who have a bad relationship with him, and he doesn't want to say another word. Looking back on that year, when Douluo went to Shrek Academy to catch Tang San, Chen Luo almost became a scapegoat due to some strange combination of circumstances. At that time, the pressure Douluo brought to Chen Luo was extremely huge. It seemed that all Douluo had to do was move lightly. With your finger, Chen Luo will fly into ashes and be annihilated. As Chen Luo's strength continued to grow, he felt differently every time he saw Douluo. From tense nerves to being unable to breathe, to extremely calm gaze, and now to being able to ignore it, the change is extremely huge. Even without relying on the power of the undead, Chen Luo now has great confidence that he can easily take down Douluo. After waiting for a while, the person he was waiting for finally appeared. He was a slender old man with black hair and a ruddy complexion, but his expression was a bit gloomy. His gloomy eyes gave people a formidable feeling. He kept a straight face. The person with the cold look was none other than Yang Wudi. Even though it was the first time he met Yang Wudi, Chen Luo still determined Yang Wudi's identity through Yang Wudi's appearance and aura. Not to mention, the temperament of this old man who pursues the ultimate attack is really extraordinary. The edge he displays is unmatched by ordinary title Douluo. Chapter 287 Urgently. Yang Wudi's appearance immediately attracted everyone's attention, but there was a very strange phenomenon. When Douluo, a titled Douluo, was looking at Yang Wudi didn't even look at him. On the contrary, when Chen Luo looked at Yang Wudi, he immediately caught Yang Wudi's attention. Yang Wudi's sharp eyes fell on Chen Luo. Chen Luo still looked very calm. Soon a trace of surprise flashed across Yang Wudi's eyes, but it was only for a moment. Soon Yang Wudi continued to maintain his cold appearance. Now that everyone is here, let's go quickly, Douluo said. After saying that, he was the first to rush towards the interior of Xiandao Palace. He was very fast and was already 100 meters away in an instant. When Chen Luo and others saw this, they immediately followed. There is no doubt that Chen Luo is the fastest. Even with Xiao Wu, he can still follow Douluo very easily. Chen Luo and the others had a smooth journey without encountering any obstructions, and not a single soldier was seen. This phenomenon surprised Tang San and the others, and Tang San even looked at Douluo a few more times because of this. Douluo also responded with his eyes, "This is none of my business." After receiving Douluo's look in response, Tang San immediately looked at Chen Luo. Chen Luo also looked very calm, with the words "Don't do my business" written on his face. Chen Luo was really unaware of the situation in front of him. Chen Luo has been waiting for the changes in Xiandao Palace to happen, and then find a way to participate. Tang San being able to come to him was something he didn't expect. After seeing Tang San, Chen Luo immediately understood Tang San's intention, so he was able to come here so smoothly. With Tang San's invitation, Chen Luo saved a lot of steps. He could follow Tang San to witness the changes in Xiandao Palace. He didn't need to participate in depth, he just needed to take a dip. They were all ready to paddle. How could Chen Luo do too many things? With Chen Luo's current strength, as long as Chen Luo is willing, he can give Xiandao City the surname Chen today. But he was not interested, nor did he want to cause a bloody storm in Xiandao City. The situation in front of us is indeed a bit strange, but it is not a big problem. Even if there are soldiers blocking it, it cannot change too much. It is just that a few more people will fall forever. Even if there were relatively powerful soul masters among those soldiers, they could not stop Chen Luo and his group unless there were titled Douluo among those soldiers. Titled Douluo account for a very small number in this world. Even though Chen Luo has more titled Douluo level and ed, that is because he is looking for titled Douluo who died in the past. When Luo Du wakes up and uses it, the superposition of this amount is quite terrifying. One thing is worthy of affirmation, that is, a palace with no one blocking it will move faster than a palace with someone blocking it. Even if it is blocked by a group of cannon fodder, it will take some time to deal with it. In front of Emperor Zuai's palace, Chen Luo and his party arrived here very smoothly. They encountered no obstructions along the way. It turned out that all the obstructions were mobilized to this position. The soldiers at the entrance to the Xiandao Palace were just an appetizer, not even an appetizer. They were just used to fool people, letting people know that someone was on duty inside. The real feast has arrived in front of Emperor Zuai's palace, and hundreds of teams composed of soul masters are already waiting, including many strong men at the control level. These were just cannon fodder. As soon as they arrived here, Chen Luo had already sensed the auras of two titled Douluo. That was the real stumbling block. After Chen Luo and the others arrived, Zhu King appeared immediately, with two people standing next to Zhu King. When he saw Zhu King, Chen Luo's mind immediately flashed to the appearance of Jinrixu in the anime. Not only was she beautiful, but she also had a good figure and was a popular figure. Even now when a woman is disguised as a man, she still looks extremely handsome. Tang San and the others naturally didn't know Jinrixu's true identity at the moment, nor did they know the identities of the two people next to Jinrixu, but they could feel that the two people next to Zhu King were extraordinary in strength. Titled Douluo, two titled Douluo. Tang San frowned, suddenly feeling something bad, but he quickly returned to his previous calm appearance. The reason was because his eyes fell on Chen Luo. Well, we also have two titled Douluo here, and one of them can fight too. Plus, we can make up the numbers, so we can solve the problem at hand. Tang San silently took 2 steps back. When he stepped back, he didn't forget to give Xiao Wu a look, as if to say, let's not just join in the fun. Next is Chen Luo's home court. Xiao Wu was also very self-aware, but she still couldn't help but glare at Tang San before retreating together. Chen Luo, Douluo, and Yang Wudi have already taken the initiative to take a step forward, and all three of them are fearless. There is no unnecessary nonsense exchange. The people guarding here and the people coming here are very clear about each other's next actions and purposes. There is no need for both parties to communicate, they just activate their martial spirits and start working. Yang Wudi activated his martial spirit, 8 soul rings slowly rose, and a spear appeared in Yang Wudi's hand. His whole body became more sharp, giving people a real feeling of invincibility. It feels like Yang Wudi's strength is just that. No matter how powerful his momentum is, it can't change the fact that his strength is limited. Douluo activated his martial soul, and 9 soul rings rose, instantly overtaking Yang Wudi in terms of momentum. At the same time, the 2 titled Douluo on the opposite side also activated their martial spirits. A total of 18 spirit rings rose at the same time, and Snake Spear Douluo and Porpoise Douluo officially appeared. There is not much difference in aura between 2 titled Douluo and a titled Douluo plus a soul Douluo, but in terms of strength, it can be seen by comparing the number of soul rings. Of course, this is just a theoretical guess, and we won't know until the actual situation is tested. Combatants from both sides are already in position and the battle is about to break out. No, there is still someone brewing, waiting for the time to show off. That's right, it's now. A huge sickle quietly appeared on Chen Luo's body. It was purple, black, red, and red. A total of 7 soul rings slowly rose from Chen Luo's feet. His number of soul rings was the highest among those who had open martial arts. The least one, but the most powerful one. The moment Chen Luo activated his martial spirit, everyone's eyes were focused on Chen Luo, with shock and disbelief written all over their faces. Those bloody ones were 10-year-old soul rings, and there were 2 of them when they appeared, and it started with a 6th soul ring. The combination of other soul rings is also far beyond the norm, giving people a huge visual impact. The most important thing is that terrifying momentum actually crushed a titled Douluo. Even titled Douluo Douluo, Array Douluo, and Snake Spear Douluo felt a little pressure, making them not dare to look at Chen Luo. Don't be stunned, let's start the fight. Chen Luo put the sickle on his shoulder and said impatiently. Chapter 288 One Enemy 2. After a soul saint activated his martial soul, his momentum was actually able to overwhelm a titled Douluo. This instantly refreshed everyone's perception of strength. Those 2 bloody 10-year-old soul rings were so strange, symbolizing extremely powerful power that was both fearful and desirable. The 1000-year soul ring was enough to shock everyone at the beginning, but the 6th soul ring being a 10-year soul ring was even more beyond everyone's imagination. Was the soul ring obtained through sacrifice? Otherwise, how could the soul emperor level be able to absorb a 10-year-old soul ring? Even some soul masters who have entered the 10th level and absorbed the 9th soul ring and are about to enter the titled Douluo level cannot withstand the energy brought by a 10-year soul ring. Has a soul emperor completed the absorption of a, year soul ring? But if it is a sacrifice, then the 7th soul ring is also a sacrifice? Sacrificing 2 10-year-old soul beasts in succession, and the time is still stuck? This is too incredible. Even if this situation is incredible, they would rather believe it. At the soul emperor level, absorbing a 10-year-old soul ring with their own strength and body is only impossible in their cognition. Among all the people present, Xiao Wu was the calmest person. Although she did not follow Chen Luo to the bone burial ground to practice and witness Chen Luo obtain the 6th soul ring, she followed Chen Luo to the sword tomb and practiced there with him. For 5 years, I witnessed Chen Luo's extremely powerful power and witnessed the process of Chen Luo absorbing the 7th soul ring. But even so, Xiao Wu's eyes would still flash with excitement when she saw Chen Luo showing off his strength. The people with the greatest emotional fluctuations were not those in Wuhan Palace, but Tang San. 5 years later, all the little monsters reunited. Chen Luo set his current level, but he never showed his soul ring, so Tang San didn't know much about Chen Luo's soul ring. When he saw that Chen Luo's 6th and 7th spirit rings were all blood red, Tang San was stunned. The soul power level can still be caught up through hard work, but the color of the soul ring cannot be caught up. Tang San's current strength has reached the level of Soul Emperor, and he has also obtained his 6th soul ring, and his soul power level has reached level 63. During this period, Tang San also went to the Slaughter City to practice, and after returning from the Slaughter City, he went to Yuxun to settle down. It wasted a lot of time, but he still reached this level of strength. In terms of his own talent, Tang San has already recognized it. In the past 5 years, he has been working hard and regaining his confidence again and again. He thinks that he is still some distance away from Chen Luo, but he can still follow Chen Luo. Only now that he saw Chen Luo's 7 soul rings and the aura displayed by Chen Luo, Tang-san realized that he could no longer see Chen Luo's back. Before Chen Luo could finish his voice, Chen Luo had already started to take action, rushing towards Array Douluo and Snake Spear Douluo at extremely fast speeds. The huge scythe was swung in midair, bringing up a black arc of fire. Before the scythe fell, Chen Luo's whole body was already covered in black hellfire. The immortality and hellfire that enhance his strength were activated at the same time. Chen Luo's momentum reached a higher level, directly overwhelming the Array Douluo and Snake Spear Douluo. The terrifying pressure made the cannon fodder soul masters in the spirit hall. They were so frightened that they retreated one after another. Some of them collapsed on the ground, and some even fainted. Array Douluo and Snake Spear Douluo didn't hesitate at all, and immediately faced them. Zhu King immediately retreated, finally retreating to the gate of the palace, and further retreated into the palace where Emperor Xiao was. His back was soaked with cold sweat, and there was still fear in his eyes. Chen Luo had already faced off against Snake Spear Douluo and Acorn Douluo. Chen Luo's death scythe landed heavily on Snake Spear Douluo's snake spear. The terrifying power directly hit Snake Spear Douluo's snake spear, pressing down on Snake Spear Douluo's shoulders. The moment the death scythe and the snake spear collided, sparks shot out, and the terrifying power made the surrounding air distort. Snake Spear Douluo's name is Xiao, one of the elders of the spirit hall. The snake spear in his hand is his spirit and title. The level 92 attack spirit master has reached the point where he can perfectly fit with the spirit. Period. After Xiao felt Chen Luo's terrifying power, a look of shock suddenly appeared on his face. Before he could react, the fire of hell surged out from the death scythe and engulfed him instantly. The next second after the hellfire erupted, countless black shadows rushed out from the death scythe, binding Snake Spear Douluo extremely tightly. Naturally, the second soul skill Fiery Flame alone cannot kill the title Douluo level Snake Spear Douluo Xiao. It must be connected with other soul skills. This is Chen Luo's fighting habit. Either he doesn't take action, the first move must be a set of combos, so that the enemy cannot fight back. When Chen Luo launched an attack on the Snake Spear Douluo Xiao and completed the control, the Array Douluo on the side did not watch and had already launched an attack on Chen Luo. His body expanded rapidly, with countless black spikes. It shot out from his body and hit Chen Luo like raindrops. Elephant Douluo's name is Thorny Blood. Like Xiao, he is an elder of the spirit hall. His martial spirit and title are all that of elephant. His martial spirit possesses highly toxic, strong armor, and the ability to release poisonous stings. The poisonous sting attack like raindrops covered a very wide area. Chen Luo was fighting against Snake Spear Douluo at this time, and he had no time to dodge. However, Chen Luo remained extremely calm because he still had the fire of hell. After all, hellfire is one of the 10-year-old soul skills, and it is provided by Kylie, the Purgatory Spider Emperor, a soul beast that is over 10 years old. There may be some gap between Kylie's age and 20 years, but it is definitely far more than 10 years old. 10,000 years, at least more than 15 years, and he was lucky enough to go to hell to further his studies, so the quality of his soul skills was naturally indescribable. In addition to greatly improving one's own strength, this soul skill can also become Chen Luo's other pair of hands, or another Chen Luo. When faced with a poisonous stinger attack of the Abyssin Douluo, Chen Luo did not need to take the initiative to control it. The hellfire burst out automatically, and the black flames instantly formed a huge armor for Chen Luo, and there is also a flame barrier on top of the armor. Those poisonous stings landed on the flame barrier and easily penetrated the flame barrier, but the power had weakened a bit, and then they were unable to break through Chen Luo's flame armor. When he saw this scene, Douluo Kixia suddenly showed an expression as if he had seen a ghost. Chen Luo ignored the Array Douluo. Even if he couldn't be distracted to deal with the Array Douluo, with the fire of hell around, he could ignore most of the Array Douluo's attacks. The death scythe swung again, and this time it actually landed on Snake Spear Douluo Xiao, who was controlled by the shadow restraint. The extremely sharp sickle blade cut into Xiao's shoulder with great ease, and blood flowed out. Splashing, the scene was slightly ferocious. Chapter 289. Some people may wonder why Chen Luo didn't just swing the death scythe to chop off Xiao's head. Would that be an instant kill? But if a title Douluo was really that easy to kill, he wouldn't be called a title Douluo. Shadow Binding's control over powerful targets was extremely limited, and it was not enough for Chen Luo to accumulate the power to kill Snake Spear Douluo Xilong's head. If you want to kill a powerful person of title Douluo level with one blow, you must either be far stronger than the opponent, or have a soul skill above the 8th soul skill. An alternative like Chen Luo, who has 2 10-year soul rings, you also need to use 10-year-old soul skills to do it. By the time Chen Luo finished accumulating his strength, Snake Spear Douluo Xilong had already broken free of his restraints, and his snake spear had already penetrated Chen Luo's body. The death scythe got stuck on Snake Spear Douluo Xilong's shoulder, and the fire of hell mercilessly raged out again. The fire of hell possesses the corrosive and paralyzing toxic effects of Chen Luo's first soul skill, Poison Flame, while the pouring and devouring flames are the burst of flames from his second soul skill. The fire of hell itself is extremely burning and corrosive, terrifyingly powerful, and extremely difficult to get rid of. Burning outside the body, Xilong can still eliminate it by erupting his whole body's soul power, but when it erupts at his wound and the fire of hell burns on his flesh and blood, it is not so easy to deal with, and the pain is endless times. Even a powerful title Douluo like Snake Spear Douluo Xilong could not help but roar at this moment, his voice full of pain and unbearable emotions. That scene was really painful to watch. The controlled time of the shadow binding finally came, or it could be said to have ended prematurely, because Xilong suddenly burst out in the pain caused by the fire of hell and the scythe of death. At least at that moment, he burst out with unprecedented strength. The snake spear moved upward, pushing away Chen Luo's death scythe. Snake Spear Douluo immediately retreated violently, and at the same time, he exploded his whole body's soul power, and drove away the hellfire from the wound as quickly as possible. The indescribable pain had already distorted his face. At this time, the Awaken Douluo had also launched a second wave of attacks on Chen Luo. The 7th soul ring on his body suddenly lit up, and his body instantly expanded into an extremely huge Awaken, with extremely sharp spines. Sharp. After activating the martial soul's true form, the array Douluo immediately hit Chen Luo. He knew that his ordinary soul skills could not cause any harm to Chen Luo, so he directly used his martial soul avatar to give Chen Luo a severe blow in the most direct and violent way. But just when Agitus Douluo was about to collide with Chen Luo, a giant green snake that was tens of meters long appeared quietly, and the snake's tail swung violently and whipped Agitus Douluo away. Chen Luo's teammates finally knew what was going on, and the one who took action was Douluo, who had transformed into the true form of the martial spirit. Although Douluo was able to take away the array Douluo, he also paid a heavy price for it. His snake tail the area was covered in blood and flesh, and had begun to turn black. After all, Poison Douluo is a poison Douluo who specializes in poison. He's extremely poisonous in his own right. He seems to be more comfortable in the face of poisons. He immediately forces out the poison Douluo's poison. Black blood sprays out and falls on the ground. There was a sizzling sound of corrosion on the palace grounds. A few unlucky spirit masters from the spirit hall were unfortunately affected by the blood, and died instantly from the poison, with most of their bodies corroded. Chen Luo glanced at Douluo with some surprise. He thought that this old poisoner would not take action, but in his heart, he actually wanted to say that he could beat 2 people one-on-one. Douluo, who transformed into the Jade Phosphorus Snake King, simply took care of his injuries and immediately rushed towards the array Douluo to draw blood. Yang Wudi had also taken action at this time, holding a spear. Like Douluo, he also rushed to stab Douluo for blood, and a 2-on-1 situation suddenly formed. Whether it is Douluo or Yang Wudi, they all know that Snake Spear Douluo Xilong is already Chen Luo's target. With the strength Chen Luo has just shown, he can definitely defeat Xilong. Naturally, they will not do it again. Intervene. At this time, Xilong finally finished dealing with the hellfire on his body. There was no intact part of his body, and most of it was charred black, especially his wounds. The blood had been burned dry and charred black. It was extremely ugly to see. Scary. On the surface, Xilong had been seriously injured, but in fact, Xilong's injuries were indeed quite serious. Although it was not life-threatening, it still caused him great pain. His condition dropped a lot and his mood could no longer be stable. The multiple burns on his body were still causing Xilong unimaginable pain, especially the shoulder that was cut open by the death scythe, which was even more painful and made Xilong doubt his life. If it weren't for the influence of hellfire, Shilong's wounds would probably be healing by now. When his strength reaches the level of a titled Douluo, even an auxiliary soul master will become extremely strong physically and have the ability to recover. Of course there was nothing to say. As long as it is not a severed hand or leg or a fatal injury, it can be recovered quickly. As for the specific recovery time, it depends on the individual's physical constitution. The fire of hell inhibited the recovery of Shilong's wounds, and it also had negative effects, making Shilong grit his teeth in discomfort. This boy's strength is really terrifying, and his weird attack methods are also mind-numbing. If possible, I would rather face those two people than this boy. Shilong's eyes inadvertently fell on the body of Douluo Kiksu, who was fighting with Douluo and Yang Wudi, with a hint of envy. When Shilong was distracted, the huge death scythe was already slashing towards him again. A real battle will not give the enemy any chance to breathe. One attack will be followed by endless attacks. The more injured and bad the condition, the more deadly it will be, and it will fall into an endless cycle of attacks. Snake Spear Douluo Shilong continued to resist with difficulty, and could occasionally launch 1 or 2 attacks, but they had no great effect at all. The fire of hell made Shilong completely on tenterhooks. The terrifying and disgusting black flames made Shilong engrave the pain in his bones. He was ready to deal with the fire of hell at any time. How could a soul master who focused on attack spend most of his thoughts on defense? Make a decent attack. After fighting Shilong for a while, Chen Luo began to feel that the battle was meaningless. Shilong did not exert his full strength at all, and Chen Luo felt that he was not as strong as the powerful monsters he faced during his training in the Sword Tomb. Those monsters are truly ferocious, and they are basically lifeless beings. It is interesting to fight them. If Shilong knew what Chen Luo was thinking, he would definitely greet Chen Luo with countless words with asterisks immediately. The reason why he fell into this fatal state was not all thanks to you, Chen Luo. Now that the battle was no longer interesting, Chen Luo had the idea of solving the battle quickly. The 7th bloody soul ring on Chen Luo's body suddenly lit up, and the martial soul's true form, Death Possession, was arranged. The shadow of the god of death that only Chen Luo could see appeared in front of Chen Luo. When Chen Luo turned on his martial spirit, the shadow of the god of death was always in a blurry state. But now that he turned on his true form of the spirit, the shadow of the god of death became much clearer. Whose appearance is almost the same as that of Chen Luo. Every time he activates the martial soul's true form, Chen Luo suspects that the shadow of the god of death is another one of himself. The shadow of the god of death submerged into Chen Luo's body. What is different from activating the martial spirit is that Chen Luo will gain truly powerful power. Chapter 290 Pursuit. After activating the martial spirit true form, Chen Luo's abilities in all aspects have been greatly improved. Even before the fight started, in terms of momentum alone, Chen Luo had already crushed everyone present. Whether it is the opponent's Snake Spear Douluo Shilong and the Array Douluo Sangsu, or the Poison Douluo Douluo and the Soul-Breaking Spear Yang Wudi as teammates, they all can't help but tremble at this moment. That feeling is not on the body, but on the soul. The second after Chen Luo activated his martial soul's true form, Shilong and Zhangzhu both subconsciously took a step back, then looked at each other and looked at Zhu King in unison. Zhu King gritted his teeth and finally couldn't help but say the word. Withdraw. Even Shilong and Zhangzhu, who were at the title Douluo level, trembled when they faced Chen Luo, not to mention Zhu King. His eyes were already bloodshot at this time, and he was leaning against the palace gate, as if he could collapse to the ground at any time. After receiving Zhu King's order, all the soul masters in Wuhan Palace immediately started retreat mode. They were all very brave in fighting and even better in escaping. Just now when Chen Luo was fighting Shilong and Zhangzhu, Xiao Wu and Tang San were not idle. They fought against those spirit masters from the spirit hall. The result was pretty good. Xiao Wu killed 3 spirit hall soul masters. Soul master, Tang San killed 5 Wuhan Palace soul masters. The reason why Tang San and Xiao Wu could defeat many with less was mainly because they still had Douluo and Yang Wudi standing behind them. Even though Douluo and Yang Wudi were fighting against the Array Douluo alone, in fact, one of them could contain the Array Douluo at will, and the other one could go and kill the spirit masters of the spirit hall. In order to achieve higher combat efficiency, it was natural to get rid of title Douluo level beings. Even so, they could still ensure the safety of Tang San and Xiao Wu. The main battlefield was still on Chen Luo's side. The moment Chen Luo activated his martial soul's true form, it was already doomed that the Wuhan Palace's operation would end in failure. Zhu King, transformed by Jinring Su, seemed particularly decisive and immediately retreated with a group of spirit masters from the spirit hall. But could they really retreat? Chen Luo, after activating his martial spirit true form, was like the god of death coming, carrying an extremely terrifying momentum and rushing towards the people of the martial spirit hall at an extremely fast speed. The target was also very clear. It was the array Douluo and the snake spear. Douluo. Seeing Chen Luo pursuing him, Douluo was not idle and immediately followed him. Yang Wudi stayed with Tang San and Xiao Wu to protect their safety. The situation here was full of too many uncertainties. If Tang San and Xiao Wu were left where they were, there was no guarantee that something would happen to Wu Han. The scene where the powerful man suddenly returns. Besides, wherever Tang San is, Yang Wudi is there. Although he is very persistent in fighting, he has not lost his mind yet and can make what he thinks is the most correct decision as quickly as possible. I didn't expect you would improve so much after not seeing me for several years. Tang San sighed. During the battle, besides focusing on the battle, Tang San's other thoughts were basically on Chen Luo. Every time he felt a powerful aura coming from Chen Luo, Tang San would suffer a blow in his heart, which made him almost ignore it. He hit Xiao Wu next to him. At this time, the battle was over, and Tang San realized that Xiao Wu's growth was also extremely terrifying when he felt a powerful aura on Xiao Wu's body, even surpassing him in terms of soul power level. Xiao Wu smiled slightly, thanks to Chen Luo's help and a bit of luck. Hearing this, Tang San smiled and said, working hard is also essential. Everyone has become stronger. You too. Xiao Wu smiled. On the other side, Chen Luo has already caught up with the people in Wuhan Hall. With Chen Luo's speed, it is not a matter of minutes to catch up with the soul masters in Wuhan Hall. During the chase, Chen Luo also deliberately let off steam, otherwise he had caught up with them a long time ago, and might have killed them all by now. This chasing game was played all the way from the central city of Xiandao to the edge city, and it was here that Chen Luo finally took action. After Chen Luo exploded with power, he moved extremely fast and arrived in front of everyone in Wuhan Hall in an instant. The huge death scythe was raised high and then suddenly fell. Snake Spear Douluo gritted his teeth and stepped forward to receive Chen Luo's attack, while Porpoise Douluo also stepped forward to meet him. Both of them looked extremely determined and seemed to be mentally prepared for a fight to the death. You go first, we'll stop behind. Snake Spear Douluo gave a low shout, and was immediately engulfed by Chen Luo's hellfire. Chen Luo's attack can be said to have no bells and whistles. On the surface, it is very simple. But even this simplest attack can produce excellent results. Chen Luo doesn't need to take the initiative to range it, and the attack special effects appear automatically. When Chen Luo was still weak, he needed to be restrained in using the flames. He had to calculate the time and number of times to use the flames very accurately in order to exert his strongest combat effectiveness. Nowadays, Chen Luo no longer has to worry about that aspect. His soul power storage has long been inexhaustible. He can use basic soul skills such as Lian without limit, not to mention poisonous flames and the like. After the flames engulfed Snake Spear Douluo, Chen Luo did not take advantage of the victory to pursue him. Instead, he chose to retreat and distanced himself from the two-titled Douluo. Then, under the surprised eyes of the two-titled Douluo, he ended his martial arts soul true body state. When things go wrong, there must be monsters. Snake Spear Douluo and Galway Douluo both understand this truth, so they did not rush forward rashly, but appeared to be very vigilant. Facts have proved that the caution of Snake Spear Douluo, Shilong and Squirrel Douluo Sangsu was the right choice. Moments after Chen Luo ended his martial spirit true form, an unimaginable sense of crisis came from all directions. The huge sense of oppression made it difficult for Shilong and Zhangzu to breathe for a while. At some point, a huge barrier was established in this area, which can isolate almost any influence from the outside world. The main body of the barrier is blood red, with faint black lines visible on it. There is no doubt that the blood red boundary is definitely the work of Gongzi Hongfei, and the black lines are naturally the arrangement of the black curse. With Gongzi Hongfei providing the power and black curse providing the formation, such a powerful barrier was created. Those below the peak Douluo level cannot realize the existence of the barrier, and even those above the peak Douluo level cannot destroy the barrier for a while. The two strongest men, Guangzi Hongfei and Heiju, only contributed the power of the barrier, and then disappeared. But even without Gongzi Hongfei and Black Curse, Chen Luo was absolutely confident in solving the target in front of him. After the barrier appeared, A group of soul masters quickly rushed towards Array Douluo and Snake Spear Douluo. The worst among those soul masters all have soul Douluo level, and many of them also have title Douluo level existences. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 291. Abuse of Vegetables. Why did so many powerful soul masters suddenly appear? We must have fallen into the trap set by that kid. After seeing the group of spirit masters, Snake Spear Douluo and Acorn Douluo were shocked. Snake Spear Douluo said in shock. If they are soul masters below the soul saint level, they can kill them randomly. But as long as they are soul masters above the soul saint level, it is easy to defeat them, but it is a bit difficult to kill them. What's more, there are title Douluo level existences among the opponent's soul masters. The most terrible thing is that there are more than one title Douluo, and they can crush them in terms of momentum. Huh? Trap. Galileo Douluo sneered. With his strength, does he still need to set up traps? I feel that we are more like toys to please him, and like food for these soul masters. Snake Spear Douluo was slightly stunned when he heard this, and then smiled bitterly and said, "It seems that they are dead this time. Fortunately, they have already run away." The Aguda Douluo smiled and said, "We are still too loyal. In a situation where we must die, we actually care about the lives of others. Even if she is an existence that must be protected, there is no way the other trash can be left behind to support her." Snake Spear Douluo sighed. It's not necessary. It's not easy to train so many soul masters. If you want to die, just kill us two old bones. Die? Aguda Douluo said, "It's not certain who will die until the last moment." While speaking, Snake Spear Douluo and Array Douluo both activated their martial spirit avatars, raising their combat effectiveness to the highest level. If they didn't fight with all their strength in the situation in front of them, they might not have this chance in the future. Chen Luo was watching the show in front of him silently from behind. Those powerful soul masters who suddenly appeared were naturally his dead soul masters. When Chen Luo knew that the change in Xiandao Palace would definitely happen, he had already made a mental note to capture Snake Spear Douluo, Shilong and Array Douluo Jixu. There are title Douluo coming to your door. If you don't want it for nothing, kill them and then wake up. They will be your dead soul masters. No matter how loyal they are to Wuhan Palace in front of them, as long as they wake up, they will only be loyal to Chen Luo. Period. These two title Douluo were destined to die anyway, so it was better to maximize their value. Chen Luo's original plan was to kill Shilong and Zhangzhu instantly, but that was too high profile. Others could see that he was strong, but they couldn't see that he was really strong. It was better not to kill a title Douluo through his hands, and the less people knew about it, the better. When Douluo caught up with him, Chen Luo had already asked Gongzi Hongyang to invite Douluo to tea. Douluo will definitely not be able to defeat Gongzi Hongyang now. Let alone go to drink tea. Even if he goes to do some indescribable things, Douluo will consider agreeing. After sending Douluo away, things will be much easier to handle. Use a more appropriate speed to force everyone in Wuhan Palace to the corner where the barrier has been set up. Then leave the rest to the dead soul masters. Anyway, they are about to become colleagues, so it is good to get to know them in advance. The first ones to attack were Li Feng and Bian Lu. The undead souls without intelligence were the purest undead souls and resolutely carried out all of Chen Luo's tasks. As in previous battles, Li Feng and Bian Lu started with a martial soul fusion skill Moyun. As the two of them advanced rapidly, the demonic abyss was constantly being activated. A huge energy body formed at an extremely fast speed, and finally Li Feng and Bian Lu controlled the energy body to move forward. The moment Li Feng and Bian Lu completed the martial arts fusion skill Mo Yuan, the expressions on Shilong and Zhangzhu's faces suddenly turned extremely ugly again. Mo Yuan not only strengthens itself, but also weakens the enemy. The effect is very overbearing. You must know that this Mo Yuan is the ancestor of the Wuhan Palace's golden generation Hulina and Ziyu brother and sister's Wuhan fusion skill Yao Mei, and it is also the strongest version. Feeling the terrifying control effect of Mo Yuan, Shilong and Zhangzhu gritted their teeth and finally chose to attack. The main thing is that they have no choice, either fight or wait to die. Under the current situation, it is absolutely impossible for them to escape. Escape will only make them die faster. Whether they can break out of this barrier is still unknown. Li Feng and Bian Lu have entered the state of energy bodies. The energy bodies are wearing energy armor and holding energy moon blades. They look extremely cool, and its power is completely visible. I saw the energy body waving the moon blade, and a wave of energy light flew out, and it was extremely easy to push back the charging Xilong and stabbing blood, and caused a certain amount of damage. Li Feng and Bian Lu are only one step away from reaching the peak Douluo level. However, under their martial soul fusion skills, they are full-fledged peak Douluo. Peak Douluo can beat ordinary title Douluo, even if they are not dead. The sun's complete crushing can also exert absolute suppression. Victory is only a matter of time. Besides, there were not only two dead soul masters, Li Feng and Bian Lu, but also a group of people behind them. After Li Feng and Bian Lu took the initiative, Wei Liang Heo's stone thorn attack immediately followed. However, after all, Wei Liang Heo's only strength was contra, and the damage he could cause to Xilong and Thorn Blood was extremely severe. It is limited, but it is absolutely overwhelming in terms of momentum. After Wei Liang Heo's stone thorn, there was Yu Yao's energy light wave, and finally Duan Xiao's long whip. The nine-tailed demon fox Erin did not participate in the battle because she was too strong and was directly banned. If Erin took action, the other dead soul beasts would have no chance to play. In the sword tomb, Arlene's illusion abilities were greatly restricted, but when she returned to the normal world, Arlene's abilities were extremely terrifying. It is no exaggeration to say that as long as Arlene takes action, Xilong and Zhangzhou can be stunned in place like fools in minutes, allowing everyone to slaughter them. As long as there is a large gap in strength, Arlene's illusion is basically an instant kill technique. The soul masters who can fight have already started fighting, while those who can't fight are watching from the side. It was only the first round, and Xilong and Zhangzhou were already overwhelmed. There were already large and small wounds on their bodies. Just the martial soul fusion skills of Li Feng and Bian Lu gave Xilong and Zhangzhou a huge headache, not to mention that there were still a group of soul masters behind them. After a brief fight, Xilong and Zhangzhou once again affirmed their endings, and they were still fighting hard. It was also during the fierce battle that the lives of Xilong and Zhangzhou became weaker and weaker. At the beginning of the battle, both Xilong and Zhangzhou thought they could kill a few, but after the fight they realized that they couldn't kill anyone. Each of these guys in front of me is more cunning than the last, and it is too difficult to seize the opportunity to solve them. The ones who are not cunning are the strongest and cannot be shaken at all. As time went by, the conditions of Xilong and Zhangzhou became worse and worse, and eventually they fell to the moon blades of the energy bodies controlled by Li Feng and Bian Lu. In fact, only Li Feng and Bian Lu could easily deal with Xilong and Thorn Blood. It was just that everyone wanted to participate, which made the battle so lively. After killing Xilong and Thorn Blood, Chen Luo did not revive them immediately. Instead, he let the undead run away carrying the corpses. Chen Luo would go there after he had a safe location that could be determined. The abilities of hunting souls and awakening are too similar to those of evil soul masters. Even if Chen Luo's current strength is already relatively strong, he cannot show off too much. Just go to a safe place to revive Xilong and stab the blood, so that you can be safe. Chapter 292 at in number 039, S interesting. You can't beat this at all. Even Yu Guan and Gui Mei can't beat them here. After just a brief confrontation, Snake Spear Douluo and Acorn Douluo began to doubt their lives, especially Snake Spear Douluo, who had just been beaten violently by Chen Luo, and now he was about to be beaten by a group again, and his mentality was simply shattered. Agouti Douluo nodded, "We must find a way to break this barrier, otherwise we will both die." After saying that, the Agouti Douluo, who transformed into a giant agouti, quickly expanded his body with blood, and then released a terrifying poisonous mist. However, the soul masters they faced all ignored the poisonous mist, which meant that the poisonous mist had a certain corrosiveness and corroded their bodies slightly, causing negligible damage, otherwise it would not be able to affect them at all. Of course the poison plays the main role in the poisonous mist. If even the poison has no effect, the poisonous mist will be useless. Little did Sangsu know that the soul masters they faced were all undead, and the characteristics of undead were very powerful. They could ignore many attacks and basically minimize all negative effects. Poisonous fog and other natural it cannot have any impact on the undead. Originally, Stabbing Blood wanted to use his poisonous mist to delay time for himself and Snake Spear Douluo Xilong, but now it seemed that he couldn't do it. Gritting his teeth, Kixu made a decision and rushed forward. Then his body began to expand violently, and the poisonous stings on his body exploded. This was no longer the ordinary attack of stinging blood, but the final killing move of stinging blood. When he erupted with a poisonous sting, the ninth soul ring on his body suddenly lit up. Those stings are not only highly poisonous, but also full of power and extremely destructive. Even Li Feng and Bian Lu, who were controlling the energy bodies, could only passively block, and cracks appeared on the energy bodies, which showed that the fatal blow of stabbing blood still had a certain power. The other dead soul masters chose to retreat, minimizing the damage of the blood-piercing attacks as much as possible. Some dead soul masters hid directly behind the energy bodies of Li Feng and Bian Lu. At this critical moment, there is no face to speak of. As long as the problem can be solved, anything can be said. Although everyone is called undead, in fact, they are no different from ordinary humans. They all have flexible and calm minds, and they will not do stupid things that are head-on, unless they are absolutely sure. There is no doubt that the burst of stabbing blood caused some trouble to the dead soul masters, and also successfully achieved the purpose of delaying time. But if he wanted to use this move to kill all the dead soul masters, it would be a bit too naive. And stabbing blood also knew very well that the damage he had done was far from enough, and he was already ready to die. When is the end of the ninth soul skill was when he entered death. When stabbing blood was taking lives to delay time, Snake Spear Douluo Shilong was not idle. There was also a certain tacit understanding between them. Almost the next second when stabbing blood stepped forward, Shilong immediately turned back. He rushed towards the barrier without any hesitation, but a hint of loneliness flashed in his eyes, but it soon turned back to determination. It is also the ninth soul skill. When Shilong's ninth soul ring shines, Shilong's whole aura becomes different. The snake spear in his hand seems to really merge with him, showing the sharp edge seems to be able to penetrate everything. A faint light bloomed from the snake spear, and a huge phantom of the snake spear gradually appeared in front of the snake spear. At the moment when the phantom of the snake spear was formed, Snake Spear Douluo suddenly rushed forward, carrying with a huge snake spear phantom stabbing towards the barrier. When the snake spear pierced the barrier, violent energy fluctuations suddenly bloomed on the barrier, and the black lines on it suddenly bloomed with dazzling light. With the assistance of the bloody aura, it provided layer after layer of energy for the barrier. The defense resisted the attack of the snake spear phantom. In just a moment, the phantom of the snake spear disappeared, but Snake Spear Douluo stabbed the barrier with the snake spear. Puff! The snake spear actually penetrated the barrier, and in an instant, the entire barrier collapsed. It turns out that the phantom of the snake spear is just a cover. The real attack is still on the snake spear, condensing all the power into one point and penetrating everything. The phantom of the snake spear causes the energy of the barrier to fluctuate greatly. When the phantom of the snake spear dissipates, the energy fluctuations of the barrier will also stabilize. At the moment when the barrier is about to return to calm, the real snake spear arrives. Snake Spear Douluo exploded with all his strength and finally broke the barrier. You must know that this is the final soul skill of title Douluo. It is just to break a barrier. Being able to push a being of this level to such a point is enough to show how powerful the barrier is. If Snake Spear Douluo doesn't use the ninth, it's really possible that soul skills won't be able to break the barrier. However, the general ninth soul skill cannot shake the barrier. For example, the ninth soul skill of Aragonist Douluo's Blood Sting. Even if the ninth soul skill is released multiple times, Snake Spear Douluo will still be unable to break through the barrier. Shilong's ninth soul skill had almost reached the ultimate level of single body strength, and he was able to break through the barrier just now. The moment the barrier was broken, Snake Spear Douluo ran away, but before he could escape 3 meters away, his head was grabbed by a big hand, and he pressed it hard to the ground, smashing out a big pit. You're so funny, you're actually able to break through the barrier that Black Curse and I set up. A hoarse voice sounded, and a tall man stood in front of Shilong. His hand was still on Shilong's head, almost embedding Shilong's head into the ground. The visitor was none other than Gong's Hongfei, who was at the 97th peak Douluo level. After Gong's Hongfei appeared, Black Curse also appeared. You think other people are interesting, so you push their heads into the ground. Black Curse couldn't help laughing. Gong's Hongfei curled his lips. Are you teaching me how to do things? Black Curse smiled, and then looked at the stabbing blood on the other side who was being beaten by a group of people. Black Curse raised his hand slightly, and fine black formations quietly appeared around Sang-Soo, and then those black formations turned into chains and instantly bound Sang-Soo. Li Feng and Bian Lu, who controlled the energy body, took the opportunity to swing the moon blade to kill the stabbing blood. The huge Aguda was cut into two halves and instantly changed back to human form. There was a huge streak on the stabbing body. The scars left only a little flesh connecting the body. Seeing Black Curse take action, Guang's Huangfei was no longer polite. He pressed hard with his big hand, and a terrifying bloody aura burst out. He easily dispatched Snake Spear Douluo Shilong. Did you agree not to take action? Chen Luo came to Gong's Huangfei and He Curse and asked with a smile. Gong's Huangfei said, their efficiency is too low. The sooner we deal with it, the sooner we finish the matter. This is Xiao City after all. It's not good to make too much noise. Chapter 293 New Member. In the capital of the empire, crouching tigers, hidden dragons are inevitable. Even if there are no ridiculously powerful beings in Xiao City, there are still certain titled Douluo. It wouldn't matter if they just killed Shilong and Zhangzhou. It would be equivalent to calming down the unrest in Xiao City, which was considered a good thing. But if it is to revive Shilong and stab blood, we must pay attention. Anything that is unacceptable to the world will be called extraordinary, and then they will fight together. The last one in this situation was the evil soul master, and now only Gong's Hongyang and Duan Xiao are left, and Duan Xiao can't even be counted among them. Black Curse and Anon are both special products of evil soul masters, so naturally they cannot be counted among evil soul masters. In other words, there was once an extremely powerful organization, but in the end only one person remained. No matter how powerful the existence is, it cannot be stronger than the entire world. Guang's Huangfei and Heiju had indeed agreed not to take action before, but only to set up a barrier to give the other undead the chance to fight. However, due to changes in the situation, after the barrier is broken, there will inevitably be a chase and the commotion will be too great. Even if Shilong and Thortblood are killed in the end, under the witness of many people, it is unlikely that Chen Luo will take their bodies away again. Judging from the situation just now, the strength of Gong's Hongfei and Heiju was beyond compare, and they completed the killing with just one move. Of course, this also has something to do with the state of Snake Spear Douluo Shilong and Ginger Douluo Sangsu. They encountered fierce battles one after another, and they had just released their 9th soul skills. Their states were already very bad, and only then were they defeated by Gongzhong. Flying and Black Curse are easy to handle. If Shilong and Gizhao were in good condition, Guang's Huangfei and Heiju could not be solved with one move, and they would have to take at least 2 moves. Then let's go to the position you have already found, Senior Gong's Hongfei. Chen Luo said. Gong's Hongfei nodded slightly, and then took out a sack from the storage soul guide, and put the bodies of Shilong and Zuzu into it. His movements were very skillful, and it looked like he had done a lot of work. This kind of murderous thing. Yu Yao and Wei Lianghao were very familiar with the sacks. They were killed by Chen Luo when they were in the killing city. It seemed that they were brought out by Gong's Hongfei using such sacks, even if they were not the same sacks. And it is definitely the same kind. Who knows if Gong's Hongfei still has such a thing? After packing the body, Gong's Hongfei threw the sack to Yu Yao. You carry it. Yu Yao immediately took it and carried it on his shoulders with great ease. Gong's Hongfei then looked at the 9-tailed demon fox Aaron, who had been silently watching the show not far away. I leave the finishing work to you. When we were fighting just now, I noticed the aura of a soul master next to me. You handle it. Arlene nodded, slightly opened her pink lips, and said in the voice of a royal sister, okay, no problem. After everything was arranged, Chen Luo and his party set off immediately. After going to a completely deserted place, Chen Luo took Li Feng by Anlu and other dead soul masters into the dead soul space. They had already appeared when they were fighting. It was impossible to take them back directly at the fighting place. Only in places where people can use such special abilities. Chen Luo and the others had already laid out an almost perfect plan. From action to aftermath, every step had been planned and all they had to do was execute. It was precisely with sufficient preparation that Chen Luo's actions were able to go so smoothly. After a while, Chen Luo and the others came to a cave, which was more than 10 miles away from Xiandao City and inaccessible. Before arriving here, Chen Luo and the others sensed the surrounding situation and made sure that no one could enter it. At Chen Luo's signal, Yu Yao put down Shilong and the bloody corpse, and then arranged a simple spirit-gathering circle. Chen Luo used to have to use black spells to help him use magic circles, but now he can create some magic circles by himself. This is all due to the harvest from the bone burial ground and the memory he gained from devouring the Evil Soul Master's generation by Chen in the Evil Soul Master's treasure. The insights from the inscriptions on the bone burial ground awakened Chen Luo's talent for formations, while Bai Chen's memory was an excellent formation learning manual. After the spirit gathering array was prepared, Chen Luo directly started the awakening process. The other undead souls were watching silently. There were only a few undead souls still there at this time, including Gong's Hongfei, Heiju and Yu Yao. The others had already entered the undead soul space. Although they were waiting to see Chen Luo use his awakening ability, Guang's Huangfei and the others did not delay the matter of protecting the law. Guang's Huangfei and the others were well aware of all the goings-on around them. As long as there were any changes, Guang's Huangfei and the others would be able to resolve them immediately. And it is really safe here, without any interference. Chen Luo held the death side, and his first target was Snake Spear Douluo Shilong. After awakening beings like Gong's Hongfei, Chen Luo had absolute confidence in awakening any goal. An ordinary title Douluo would have no pressure at all. The death scythe fell and sank into Shilong's body, and the awakening officially began. As expected of a warm corpse, Chen Luo quickly sensed Shilong's corpse, and the energy in his body began to be quickly drained away. This is undoubtedly a good sign, and the awakening is proceeding normally. In fact, this is also the normal process of awakening, but Chen Luo's awakening of the soul beast corpses in the burial ground left a psychological shadow, and he always felt that his awakening would end in the next second. The whole process of awakening Snake Spear Douluo Shilong was very smooth. Chen Luo spent less than 1/5 of his energy to successfully revive Shilong, and also retained part of Shilong's memory, preventing Shilong from completely becoming undead. It is better for beings of title Douluo level to have spiritual intelligence, so that their fighting power can be truly fierce. After all, it is a pity for Li Feng and Bian Lu. After Shilong woke up again, like ordinary undead, his strength had been improved to a certain extent, and there was also a faint gray aura lingering on his body, and the color of his soul ring also had a layer of gray. When looking at Chen Luo, Shilong did not see any hatred or malice in his eyes, but only absolute loyalty. After Shilong passed, there was blood. Just like Shilong's situation, the recovery process from blood stabbing was also smooth. It's just that the bleeding injury was too severe and it took a little longer to wake up, but the final result was good. When stabbing woke up again, all the wounds on his body had disappeared, and the wounds on his waist that almost split his body in half had also completely healed. It was smooth and perfect. The undead team had grown a bit stronger again, welcoming 2 new members of the title Douluo, Shilong and Thornblood. It would be even more perfect if Jinriksu could also be caught, killed and resurrected. The important thing is that Jinriksu is not Chen Luo's main target, otherwise Chen Luo can still do it. The reason why Chen Luo didn't attack Jinriksu was not only for the normal development of the plot on the book, but also because he didn't want to cause too much trouble. Besides, Jinriksu is not that easy to kill. There are still several title Douluo from the Spirit Hall in Xian Dao City. By the time I chase him, they will probably have reunited. Even if all the Soul Masters in Wuhan Hall were finally killed and Jinriksu was taken down, there would definitely be a big commotion and Jinriksu would not be able to be killed and revived. Many things are indeed simple to think about, but will be very difficult to implement. There are many factors to consider, and there are still more unknown changes. Chapter 294 The Past of Wuhan Hall. In the past, after Chen Luo awakened the undead, he rarely checked the memories of the undead. However, due to the special identities of Shilong and Zhangzhou, Chen Luo immediately checked the memories of Shilong and Zhangzhou. However, what surprised Chen Luo was that he found nothing. Finding nothing here does not mean that Chen Luo has not obtained the slightest memory of the 2 of them, but that there is no memory of Wuhan Palace. There are memories of their daily life, including their cultivation. Is it possible that all the memories about Wuhan Palace have been erased? Chen Luo was a little surprised and said that he really didn't expect this situation. Is Wuhan Palace doing such a good job in keeping information confidential? Besides, where do they have the ability to block and erase other people's memories? When Shilong and Zhangzhou were alive, there was absolutely no loss of memory. However, during the process of being awakened after death, those memories about Wuhan Palace were diluted and eventually completely eliminated. This is not something that ordinary people can do, and it is also very targeted. It seems to be specifically to prevent beings like yourself who can reawaken the dead. After bringing Shilong and Thornblood into the undead space, along with the other undead souls, Chen Luo then returned to Xiandao City. After a while, Chen Luo arrived at Xiandao Palace. Tang San, Xiao Wu and the others were still here, but Tang San had already gone in with Douluo to treat Emperor Zhu Yi, and the chief physician was Yang Wudi. Xiao Wu just watched silently. Guangzhongyang guarded Xiao Wu. It was just now that Guangzhongyang sent Douluo away. The two of them did not fight too fiercely. Guangzhongyang also deliberately concealed his identity and made simple changes to his body and face. Even if Guangzhongyang stood in front of Douluo, Douluo would not be able to recognize him. The undead's disguise is the simplest. Their bodies can be changed at will, at least for a short period of time. Seeing Chen Luo come back, everyone's eyes were focused on Chen Luo. Noticing Tang San's questioning gaze, Chen Luo shook his head slightly, and then said softly, "The matter has been taken care of. Let's go back first. I'll leave the rest to you." Tang San nodded vigorously. Douluo's eyes stayed on Guangzhongyang for a moment, and then he didn't look any further. Chen Luo, Xiao Wu and Guangzhongyang left and went to their residence. As soon as he returned to his residence, Chen Luo immediately set up a simple barrier to isolate sound and breath. "How far has the Wuhan Palace developed while you evil soul masters were here?" Chen Luo looked at Guangzhongyang and asked. Guangzhongyang said, "It can only be considered an ordinary scale, slightly stronger than our evil soul masters. There were too many sects at that time, and there were only a few soul masters in total. After the division was evenly divided, the competition was to see which family had more powerful ones. When I was still alive, the Pope of Wuhan Palace was still Jin Daoyun." Jin Daoyun. Chen Luo was a little surprised when he heard this. Guangzhongyang slowly said, "He is Jin Daoyu's brother. He was once a genius, but he was just a short-lived ghost. He seemed to suddenly disappear when he was 50 years old. I heard that he failed to inherit the inheritance of Wuhan Palace and died. Isn't the Wuhan Palace passed down from the same line?" Chen Luo asked. Guangzhongyang said, "It is passed down from generation to generation, starting from Qiandaoliu. It seems that their family members are all very short-lived. After I was resurrected, I heard that Qiandaoliu's son also died very young. Boss, did you try to check the memories of the two titled Douluo from the spirit hall after awakening them, but the result was blank?" Guangzhongyang seemed to suddenly understand what Chen Luo wanted to know. His eyes as soon as he lit up, he asked directly with a smile. Chen Luo nodded, "Yes, I just want to know about this matter." Guangzhongyang said, "There are many secrets in the Wuhan Palace. We evil soul masters once dug out some. Later, even after killing 3 titled Douluo, we found nothing. It was not until our new leader appeared that we knew the secret's reason. Everything is Jin Daoyun's fault. His martial soul is quite special and has strong control over people's memory. He just wanted to be wary of our evil soul masters, so he came up with those tricks, and he will do more later. That special ability was passed on to Sen Daoliu. Even so, the secret of their spirit hall is no longer a secret. The inheritance of their spirit hall is the god of angels. We already knew it later. As for other information, we are not interested either." Hearing this, Chen Luo was a little shocked. It seemed that the previous stories in Douluo world were even more exciting. It's good to have a live long-term meeting, and you can get a lot of information about the past of Douluo world. Guangzhongfei should also know a lot of things, but probably not as much as Guangzhongyang. After all, Guangzhongyang only likes to commit suicide and has done so many things. At first glance, Guangzhongfei seemed to be the kind of being who focused on cultivation. Later, he stayed in the killing city and had no knowledge of the outside world. After the doubts in his heart were answered, Chen Luo breathed a sigh of relief. He even suspected that there was something wrong with his awakening, and automatically erased the bad memories of the undead, so that key memories could no longer be viewed. Now it seems that it has nothing to do with Su Xing. Jin Daoyun, Jin Daoliu. Wuhan Palace is also a place full of stories, and it is destined to be full of stories. Then Chen Luo also asked Guangzhongyang about the past situation of Wuhan Palace, and the information he got was similar to the current Wuhan Palace. However, Wuhan Palace was in development at that time, and now Wuhan Palace has entered the stage of development peak. There is another interesting thing among them, that is, the establishment of Douluo Hall in Wuhan Hall is specifically for their evil soul masters. Guangzhongyang doesn't know whether it is specific. In short, In the view of their evil soul masters, there is a great possibility. When the camel is almost unable to hold up the pile of straw, a gust of wind may be the last bit of strength to break the camel. 3 days later, Emperor Zhu Yi's condition stabilized, and he immediately summoned his savior Chen Luo. Chen Luo also succeeded in replacing Tang San and obtained the Xiandao Empire's national treasure, the vast sea universe cover. Chen Luo didn't ask for any other rewards, only the vast sea universe shield. As for the rewards Tang San and the others received, that was Tang San and the others' own business. Anyway, Chen Luo is not interested in the so-called noble status at all. Money and other things are just a number to him. He has already reached such strength. Those worldly things are really dispensable. It is best not to have them. In order to avoid bringing yourself a lot of trouble and being labeled with various labels. After getting the vast sea universe cover, Chen Luo had no intention of arguing with Emperor Zhu Yi anymore. Chen Luo didn't care whether you were a great emperor or not. He already got what he wanted, so there was nothing to talk about. He left in a few words. After returning to his residence, Chen Luo immediately took out a vast sea universe cover. He followed a strategy in the book to try to establish contact with the vast sea universe shield, so as to use the vast sea universe shield. As a result, he tried several times but failed. The vast universe covering his hands was just a decoration. He also tried to use it by force, but in the end he could only use it as a brick, not even a brick. Chapter 295 The Person Who Has Been Chosen. The vast sea universe cover is a triangular body the size of a palm. The entire body is crystal clear blue and exudes a faint light. The crystal blue light was filled with precious light, and strange energy fluctuations were constantly coming from it. Chen Luo could feel the extremely special energy from it, but he could not control it. On the vast sea universe cover, there are lines like water waves. These lines do not seem to be carved, but like they are alive. Circles of blue light flash, and the entire room is filled with a faint precious light. This thing indeed has various characteristics of a peerless treasure, and Chen Luo can also sense it very clearly. If he establishes a connection with the vast sea universe barrier, then he can use the power of the vast sea universe barrier. At the very least, it should be no problem to use the skills that come with the vast sea universe shield itself. But the crux of the matter is that no matter what method he tried, he always failed. This thing fell into his hands. Apart from being beautiful, it was not as practical as a brick. In Chen Luo's impression, in the plot of the book, Tang San rashly used his mental power to detect the inside of the vast sea universe barrier, which almost shocked him into an idiot. In order to establish contact with the vast sea universe shield, Chen Luo did not hesitate to take risks and reenact the plot on the book, using his mental power to detect the vast sea universe shield, but still found nothing. Even the mental damage that he was more worried about did not appear. There was really no reaction at all. Of course, he could also sense how terrifying energy existed inside the vast sea universe barrier. He felt that he was very close to that energy, but in fact it was extremely far away. What is going on? Does this thing still have its owner? Chen Luo felt a little depressed. He was very curious about how those who had obtained the vast sea universe shield in the past used the vast sea universe shield. Could it be that they were all using it as decorations like him? Unlikely, right? Emperor Zhu himself also said that this vast sea universe cover is a divine weapon, a powerful force pursued by countless people. In order to obtain the vast sea universe cover, people in the past did not know how many wars took place. Finally, by chance, they ended up in the desert. Xiandao Empire. But one thing is certain, the Xiandao Empire should not be able to use this special treasure, otherwise how could it have fallen to this level and become a giant-like existence long ago? There is also a possibility that the Xiandao Empire relied on the artifact of the vast sea universe shield to become a great empire. Emperor Zhu didn't say much about those things. No matter what the situation is, he cannot use the vast sea universe shield now. Is this thing really prepared for Tang San? Chen Luo sighed in his heart. Just when Chen Luo was about to give up completely, suddenly the vast sea universe barrier burst into dazzling light, and a sacred and extremely majestic voice suddenly sounded in Chen Luo's mind. You are already the chosen one. I can no longer choose you, and you can no longer choose me. Give it to someone who can use it. It was just a voice, but it made Chen Luo break into cold sweat. The voice was full of unparalleled power. It seemed that he could not defeat the owner of the voice. The two were not on the same level at all. Poseidon, god of the sea. This line of information suddenly appeared in Chen Luo's mind. According to the plot on Douluo's book, Poseidon appeared after Tang San obtained the Vast Sea Universe cover. The so-called Vast Sea Universe cover actually has a more impressive name, and that is Poseidon's heart. In the future, when Tang San pulls out the Poseidon Trident, this Poseidon's heart will be a necessary accessory for the Poseidon Trident. Could that voice just now really be Poseidon, the god of the sea? This thought came to Chen Luo's mind again. Without too much hesitation, Chen Luo determined in his heart, it should be so. No one can give me such a great sense of oppression except God. As his strength continues to improve, Chen Luo's self-confidence becomes stronger and stronger. Chen Luo no longer takes the ordinary title Douluo in his eyes. Even if he is a peak Douluo, he still has the confidence to fight in a battle, even in face-to-face situations. He can also remain calm against extreme Douluo. Only God could defeat all of Chen Luo's self-confidence. That was a crushing blow from another species. If he is really Poseidon, the god of the sea, then what does he mean by what he just said? I am the chosen one. Some doubts arose in Chen Luo's heart, accompanied by surprises that gradually grew. I am the one who has been chosen. Poseidon, the god of the sea, cannot choose him again, and I cannot choose Poseidon, the god of the sea. Does this mean that I have been chosen by other gods? Chen Luo began to become excited. Even without thinking about it, he could guess who the god who chose him was. Of course it's the god of death. It became his martial spirit and gave him extremely powerful power. Soul hunting, awakening, and death suits may appear to be given by the system, but in fact they are most likely arranged by death. But there is another possibility. Chen Luo's inner excitement stopped abruptly. Is it possible that I will become a god's horseboy like Bo Saxi? Bo Saxi's martial spirit is Poseidon, and she has received many benefits from Poseidon. The power of extreme Douluo is almost what Poseidon gave her, and she will never be able to become Poseidon in her lifetime. She can only make great offerings, or be more grounded. If you get angry, you will be Poseidon's horseboy. Is it possible that his fate will be the same as Bo Saxi's? Maze who has been selected may not necessarily be selected to become a god, but may also be selected to become a god. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Chen Luo found that he couldn't accept that outcome, and he firmly believed that it was definitely not that outcome. Time travel and system, Wuhan is still a god. How could such a proper protagonist script not even be able to compare with Tang San in the end? I am the king of hangers-on. Chen Luo took a deep breath and then made a decision in his heart. Whether or not you choose me, whether you can choose me or not, is all your business. Anyway, I've got the wool of your Poseidon Island. Chen Luo finally chose to give up the Poseidon's heart and the vast sea cosmic shield and prepared to hand it over to Tang San. There was no other way. He couldn't use it himself, so he could only give it to someone who could use it. Others, including Poseidon, the god of the sea, couldn't use it. It has been explained and must be arranged so that when the time comes to go to Poseidon Island to obtain resources, I will be able to feel at ease and go smoothly. Tang San's acquisition of the Vast Sea Universe Shield was similar in nature to his own acquisition of the Vast Sea Universe Shield. Anyway, he was going to Poseidon Island, and at worst, going with a group, which was originally part of his plan. Now that the Vast Sea Universe Shield has been obtained, no matter what the situation is, the initiative is in one's own hands, and it is time to start preparing to go to Poseidon Island. Of course, all the undead souls of our own family will go together. They work hard for us, so it is appropriate for them to do team building, right? Chapter 296 Preparations Before Team Building. Xiao Wu watched the whole process of Chen Luo trying to use the Vast Sea Universe Shield. It's just that Xiao Wu doesn't know that Chen Luo has gone through so many things in his heart. In Xiao Wu's eyes, Chen Luo spends most of his time in a daze. Seeing Chen Luo put away the Vast Sea Universe cover, Xiao Wu tentatively stepped forward and looked at Chen Luo with concern. It's over. Chen Luo sighed. Xiao Wu asked softly, how's it going? Did you succeed? From Chen Luo's expression, Xiao Wu already knew the result, but she still couldn't help asking nonsense. Chen Luo said, failed. This thing is not suitable for me. Under normal circumstances, the words unsuitable are somewhat of an excuse, but from Chen Luo's words, it means that they are really unsuitable, and this is actually the case. Poseidon, the god of the sea, couldn't stand it anymore and gave him a reminder. What else could he do? Continuing would just be a waste of time and energy, as well as a waste of expressions and mood. If it's not suitable, then we don't need it. It's pretty and can be used as a decoration." Xiao Wu comforted her. Chen Luo smiled and said, "Let's forget it and give it to someone who can use it." "Who?" Xiao Wu asked immediately. Chen Luo said, "Tang-san." Xiao Wu nodded lightly. "Yes, Tang-san has a deep research on those weird things. He can master such complicated things as hidden weapons. Maybe he can really study these things thoroughly." Chen Luo smiled slightly and said nothing more. He also subconsciously followed Xiao Wu's question and gave the final answer. Just now he was thinking of finding a not-so-nonsense reason to put things right, but he didn't expect Xiao Wu to find a reasonable explanation on his own. "So smart, you don't have to make up excuses yourself. Then when are you going to give this thing to Tang-san?" Xiao Wu asked. Chen Luo glanced at the sky outside. It was pitch black. It was already late at night before he knew it. "Tomorrow." Xiao Wu also followed Chen Luo's gaze and looked outside. At this time, she no longer cared whether she asked nonsense again, and a touching smile appeared on her pretty face. "Then let's go to bed." "Okay." Chen Luo nodded. Xiao Wu immediately went to close the curtains, and then used her soul power to set up a simple barrier for the room. Then she turned off the lights and pounced on Chen Luo like a hungry wolf. After a while, Chen Luo's voice came, "Go to sleep and take off my pants." One night of spring, the next morning, Xiao Wu was still sleeping soundly, while Chen Luo had woken up early. Even if you use your soul power to take measures, if you continue to be crazy like this, you will get pregnant sooner or later. Chen Luo couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Then he reached out to Xiao Wu's body and touched it twice. After getting up and taking a shower, Chen Luo returned to bed. He did not continue to do bad things, but entered a state of cultivation. He used to be the kind of soul master who practiced all night and worked extremely hard, but now he has gradually deteriorated. His time during the day is okay, but his time at night is basically being squeezed. A short period of practice will not bring much improvement to Chen Luo, and it is unrealistic to add up a little to make a lot. At Chen Luo's level, opportunity is the most important. The efficiency of hard training is so low that I want to cry. He had no choice but to practice hard. Chen Luo had experienced those days before, and now it is difficult to go back. Today's practice is just to maintain and regain the feeling before. Chen Luo practiced for an hour. When he finished his practice, Xiao Wu woke up, their eyes met, and the fire of desire burned quietly. Women will indeed affect the speed at which I improve my strength. Chen Luo sighed secretly in his heart, and then chose to continue to sink. After another storm, Chen Luo and Xiao Wu got up, had a simple breakfast, and then went to Shrek Academy. Tang-san was in Shrek Academy. He seemed to have learned the essence of Shrek Academy's dean. He was very frugal. There was accommodation in the academy and he was determined not to live outside. After finding Tang-san, Chen Luo happily handed the vast sea universe cover to Tang-san. Tang-san was not polite and accepted it directly, and then gave Chen Luo a lot of hidden weapons, all of which were relatively high-ranking. Not only concealed weapons, but also extremely detailed instructions specially prepared for Chen Luo. Chen Luo naturally accepted them all, even though he hardly used those hidden weapons and would only occasionally use them to play with out of interest. But after all, this was Tang-san's intention and the courtesy should be reciprocated. When I saw this treasure, I had a special feeling for it. Now that I hold it in my hand, that feeling is even stronger. After Tang-san obtained the vast sea universe cover, his emotions immediately became excited and he couldn't help but sigh. Then, under the witness of Chen Luo and Xiao Wu, Tang-san used some of the abilities of the vast sea universe cover, and the process of using it was extremely smooth. There is no harm without comparison. When Chen Luo held a vast sea universe shield, let alone using it, there was no reaction at all, just like holding a brick. Chen Luo, thank you very much. I also have some hidden weapons. Do you want them? When he got a vast sea universe shield, Tang-san was very excited. After using the vast sea universe shield, Tang-san's emotions became even more excited. When he looked at Chen Luo, his eyes were full of gratitude. If it weren't for Xiao Wu's presence, Tang-san would have already rushed forward and wanted to pledge himself to her. Of course, Chen Luo would not accept it. His orientation has always been very normal. After successfully handing over the vast sea universe shield to Tang-san, and also witnessing the process of recognizing the owner of the vast sea universe shield, Chen Luo didn't have much emotional fluctuations in his heart. Everything is within his plan. Whether or not he can use the vast sea universe shield has little impact on him. It just lacks some of the more powerful skills of the vast sea universe shield. As long as everything is going smoothly, it won't be a big problem. Chen Luo then began to make arrangements to go to Poseidon Island. He first found Yu Xiaogang. In the plot of the book, Yu Xiaogang has a certain understanding of Poseidon Island, and it was Yu Xiaogang who recommended Poseidon Island to the Shrek 7 monsters. Through Gong's Hongfei, Chen Luo has learned about the general situation of Poseidon Island, which is similar to the situation in the book. The reason why he came to see Yu Xiaogang was simply because he wanted to use Yu Xiaogang to lead the Shrek 7 devils. It always felt weird to directly approach the Shrek 7 monsters to form a group, but with Yu Xiaogang as the middleman, everything became much more normal. Things progressed very smoothly. Yu Xiaogang took the initiative to take on the important task of forming the group. With his serious nonsense mouth, of course all the Shrek 7 devils agreed. In just one day, Chen Luo assembled the team going to Poseidon Island and was ready to set off tomorrow. Chapter 297. Why not have a few more people? I'm coding. Update now, just refresh later. In the process of coding, Tang Chen, a character in the otherworldly continent fantasy novel Douluo and its derivative works written by the third son of the Tang family, the previous sect leader of the Haoshan sect, the inheritor of the Shura god, and the killing king of the city of killing martial spirit Haoshan Hammer, a level 99 attack type demigod peerless Douluo, titled Haoshan and nicknamed Invincible on the ground. Revise immediately. Tang Chen and Jin Liu, the adjudicator elder of Wuhan Palace, are known as the two mountains in the Soul Master world. They once traveled to Poseidon Island together and fell in love with Bosaxi, the great priest of Poseidon Island, because he misunderstood the meaning of Bosaxi's obscure confession. Tang Chen made a promise: I will never return until I become a god. Tang Chen found the inheritance of God Shura in the city of killing, but was defeated by the secret hand of God Rakshasa in the assessment and was parasitized by the blood-red nine-headed bat king, became the killing king of the killing city. Tang Chen is the patriarch of the Clear Sky School, the most powerful Clear Sky Douluo in the history of the Clear Sky School, leading the school to the #1 throne in the world. Together with Jin Liu, the adjudicator elder of Wuhan Palace, they are called the two mountains of the Soul Master world, which means the insurmountable peaks. After retiring from the world of Soul Masters, Tang Chen was invited by Jin Liu to venture into Poseidon Island with him, and thus fell in love with Bosaxi, the great priest of Poseidon Island. Bosaxi chose Tang Chen among the two, but because of her pride, she did not express her favorability, which led to Tang Chen misunderstanding and getting lost in the killing city while taking the Shura Divine test. Tang Chen was tall, with black hair and black eyes, handsome appearance, deep eyes, and an old and thick voice, like a majestic old man. As the king of slaughter, Tang Chen had a deep and sharp voice, wore a blood-colored robe, and his whole body was wrapped in a huge scarlet cloak with a stand-up collar. His face was pale, middle-aged, and his hair and eyes were blood-red. From a distance, it looks like a shadow of blood. 7 years later, many mysterious bloodlines appeared on Tang Chen's pale skin, and there was a sword-shaped magic line on his forehead, and a pair of huge blood-red wings spread out on his back. Tang Chen was wise, but he was too obsessed with cultivation, which led to him neglecting many other things. Tang Chen once pursued Bosaxi with Jin Liu. Bosaxi also developed a liking for Tang Chen and secretly confessed to Tang Chen. After hearing this, Jin Liu left voluntarily, but Tang Chen ignored the meaning of Bosaxi's words, and instead seriously made a promise to Bosaxi that he would only return after becoming a god, causing Bosaxi to stay alone in the boudoir for decades. Also, out of his own pride and man's dignity, Tang Chen was unwilling to break his promise and go back to find her, even if he later understood the meaning of Bosaxi's words. Tang Chen's martial spirit is the Clear Sky Hammer, which can only be possessed by the direct bloodline of the Clear Sky sect. 2. The Clear Sky Hammer is known as the best martial spirit in the world. 3. In terms of dominance, power, and explosive power, the Clear Sky Hammer can take the top spot among the known martial arts in the Soul Master world. 4. Tang Chen's Clear Sky Hammer follows a balanced approach. Although his Clear Sky Hammer is very domineering, it relies more on the combination of its own powerful soul power and skills. The attacks are so wonderful that the opponent is often unable to resist. 16. 99. 95,969,520.00%. 979,620.00%. 979,830.00%. 989,940.00%. 95, 30. 95, 5. Number 1, 15. Among the 3 peerless Douluo in the world, Tang Chen is the only one who has reached level 99 by relying on his own strength. He is also the only one who is expected to become a god by relying on his own strength. He reached level 99 3 years earlier than Poseidon without taking advantage of geographical advantages. Tang Chen was the strongest among the 3. 11. Secret skill Chaos Cloak Hammer. One of the most powerful casting techniques that can drive out metal impurities when the heart is beating rapidly. The mana starts from the 2 calves, and the power is uploaded to the thighs, through the waist, back, and arms, and finally released with full strength. 6-7. Use your body to drive the hammer to circle around at the moment when the hammer is about to reach its highest point. Use the rebound force generated by the collision between the hammer and the metal to turn it into the power of your next blow. After that, the power of each blow exceeds that of the user full strength. Use this technique to swing 81 hammers in a row to directly shape a piece of pig iron into what you want. 8-9. When used in actual combat, the random cloak hammer method can temporarily accumulate the power of the attack at one point. The power of each hammer will be stronger than the previous hammer, and finally it will be released in one breath after 81-20 hammers. The disadvantage is that it requires a long accumulation process. Haoshin Jojo. The Clear Sky Hammer has 9 unique power-generating techniques, each of which has its own characteristics compared with this somewhat useless random cloak hammering technique. The Haoshin 6 Real Secret Skill. The Haoshin 9 secret skills are truly powerful abilities that can be used in actual combat even among the direct disciples of the Haoshin sect. Not everyone can teach the 9 arts. Only with the approval of the sect master and elders can they be taught. 18. Awesome Hammer. Haoshin Douluo's exclusive training method, a magical skill that only gods can perfectly perform. The requirements for cultivators are extremely high. If you are not a gifted genius, you will never be able to succeed in cultivation, and your life will be in danger. Theoretically speaking, it means condensing all one's soul rings into one, injecting them all into the Clear Sky Hammer, turning them into the purest strength and attack power, forcibly breaking through all constraints, and exerting a powerful strength that surpasses one's own soul power. It is the root of defeating 10 guilds with 1-4-17. The Great Sumeru Hammer has a secret technique called Ring Explosion. By blowing up the soul ring, the power of the soul ring is integrated into the attack, creating a powerful force far beyond its own. This is the desperate skill of the Great Sumeru Hammer. Each soul ring launches an attack. When all the soul rings have passed through the ring explosion, the user himself will also enter a weak state. 19. Killing Field. The Killing Field is the strongest field in the Killing City and the most domineering field in the world. The effect of the Killing Field is to ban demons, and the demon banning property is absolutely true. 12. Enemies in the field cannot use any soul skills and can only use the most basic form of martial arts. 13, which is a reduction of the demon banning effect in the Killing City. Version only. The owner of the Killing God domain is immune to the effect of the forbidden magic, but the Killing God domain itself will be restrained by the Killing domain. 12. The demonic sword of Shura is a super artifact of God Shura. 24. Tang Chen was recognized by the demonic sword of Shura after passing the 8th test of God Shura. 15. The Shura demonic sword is more than 2 meters long, and its body is blood red. The long and thick sword is densely covered with dark golden demonic patterns. 22. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 298. Everything can be created. 5 minutes before going to sea. Chen Luo, do we really not want to rent a boat or buy one? Xiao Wu blinked her big eyes and looked at Chen Luo with confusion. The Shrek 7 devils in the group also looked at Chen Luo with confusion. Period. Just now, Chen Luo actually said there was no need to rent a boat. How to get to Poseidon Island without renting a boat? Can everyone swim there together, an extra long version of a swimming race? But don't, I feel like dreaming should be more practical. Tang Sam seems to have bought a boat. What's it called? Dragon Abyss boat. The name is quite domineering. It cost him 5,000 gold soul coins. It can be used just right. Ma Hongjin said suddenly. Daimube smiled and said, Xiao-san is usually very frugal, but this time he actually spent so much money to buy a boat. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would have been unbelievable. That's 5,000 gold soul coins. I guess Xiao-san's my heart is bleeding. The original price was, gold soul coins, but the third brother bargained it down to, Ningrongrong covered her mouth and smiled. Oscar said, as expected of a mistress, you're a very good bargainer. By the way, you can also bargain at auctions. The day before Chen Luo and the Shrek 7 Devils were going to Poseidon Island, Oscar returned. According to Oscar's own description, what he experienced during his outing was basically consistent with the plot in the book that Chen Luo remembered. Oscar got the mirror clone intestine and finally had a certain fighting power. He also used his own efforts and some luck to successfully break through himself. Of course I didn't buy it at the auction, but I bought it from the boss later. Otherwise, can I cut it in half? That means that thing is really not popular. Otherwise, at the price of 5,000 gold soul coins, the boss can cut it off. Daimyo Bai smiled. Tang-san showed a helpless expression, am I as good as you say? Daimyo Bai and the others immediately said in unison, yes. Bai Chengxiang muttered, he is not stingy, he is very generous. When he spends money in the Tang sect, he is never ambiguous. He is not as exaggerated as you say. Bai Chengxiang's voice was very low. Only Bai Chengxiang could hear it. At this time, everyone had entered a new round of topics. No one noticed what Bai Chengxiang said. Bai Chengxiang's presence in the team was also very low. Except for Ma Hongjin's constant attention, Bai Chengxiang always seemed out of place. After receiving everyone's suggestions, Tang-san immediately looked at Chen Luo. Do I need to use the Dragon Abyss boat? I think it is better to rent a boat. After all, we are not familiar with sea routes. Traveling by ourselves is like crossing a river by feeling for stones. I am afraid it will cost more in terms of time and energy. It is better to use soul coins to make up for it. After Tang-san finished speaking, he immediately added under the strange gazes of everyone, I don't feel sorry for the Long Yuan boat. If you rent or buy a boat, I can pay for it. These are small amounts. I can totally do it. Affordable. When did the mistress become so rich? Daimyo Bai asked with a smile. Ma Hongjin immediately said, he just sold a piece of land not long ago, and now he must be rich. Sold a piece of land? Daimyo Bai asked in surprise. Yes. Ma Hongjin nodded vigorously. Xiao-san's business acumen cannot be ignored. He bought a piece of land in Xiandao City several years ago. At that time, the land was still very cheap because it was located in a relatively peripheral area of Xiandao City. Who would have known that Xiandao City has been undergoing major construction in the past 2 years, and that land was also included in the construction goals? Xiao made a lot of money directly. Not only did he get a large amount of gold soul coins, but he also received compensation for the real estate. I'll go. Is there such a thing? Oscar was shocked, as were Daimyo Bai and the others. Chen Luo was also shocked. He really didn't expect Tang-san to be so talented in real estate. With just one transaction, Tang-san got money that would be difficult to spend in several lifetimes. It was really impressive. There is no need for the Longyuan boat, and it is unreliable to let others lead the way. The most people on the seaside are not fishermen and merchant ships, but pirates. The chance of boarding a pirate ship is very high. It is better to sail the boat yourself. Chen Luo started to talk about the business. The whole person became a little serious, and the Shrek 7 Devils in the group also listened very seriously. I spent a lot of money to buy a refined sea map. Although the location of Poseidon Island is still vague, as long as we enter the relevant sea areas, it will be relatively easy to find Poseidon Island. In Chen Luo's impression, the Shrek 7 monsters and the others just rented a ship, and many outrageous plots happened. They even got on the pirate ship, and they were almost tricked to death by the pirates, but they were sent directly to the ship. When we arrived at the deep-sea demonic whale king, if there were no force majeure factors, it is estimated that the Shrek 7 Devils would have been directly buried in the sea. Chen Luo didn't want to take risks again, and it was just for the convenience. The risks and benefits were really not proportional, so there was no need to choose. Even if it's like what you said, we still need a boat. We can't really swim there, right? Daimyo Bai said. Chen Luo smiled slightly, looked at the sea, then pointed in one direction and said, the ship is coming. Everyone immediately looked in the direction Chen Luo pointed. Just as Chen Luo said, they really saw a ship. The ship was extremely huge, and the ships docked in the harbor could only be regarded as small ships in front of it. I saw that it was a stone boat. It had a very unique shape and gave people a high-end feel at first glance. It had everything it should have, but most of it was made of stone. This can't be the ship built by Senior Xiao, right? Xiao Wu blurted out subconsciously when she saw the main material of the big ship. The Shrek 7 devils in the group were still in a daze and could not come back to their senses immediately until Chen Luo's voice sounded. Yes, this is Xiao's masterpiece. Isn't it very exquisite and perfect? Chen Luo said with a smile. Xiao Wu nodded immediately. Yes, Senior Xiao's technology is so good that he can even build a boat. Chen Luo said, there is nothing he cannot create, everything can be created. The Shrek 7 devils in the group finally came to their senses at this time. They were all confused when they heard the content of Chen Luo and Xiao Wu's chat. Chen Luo introduced with a smile, this is a ship built by a senior who went with us to Poseidon Island. His martial spirit is stone, and he can use stones to make anything. Only you can't think of it. Without him, it wouldn't be possible. Out? The Shrek 7 monsters and the others were once again shocked. Good guy, this turned out to be the work of one person. It was all handmade. To be able to make something so perfect and exquisite, one must have such strong control over the martial spirit. The big ship quickly docked in front of Chen Luo and the others, and Chen Luo and the others boarded the ship smoothly. Xiao, the builder of the big ship, was already waiting there, while the other dead soul masters were already enjoying themselves. Welcome to the Titanic. Xiao warmly welcomed everyone. Chapter 299. Currently coding. Update immediately, refresh later. Change it now, change it now, change it now. Bo Seixi, a character in the otherworldly continent fantasy novel Douluo and its derivative works written by the third son of the Tang family, is a martial spirit Poseidon, a peerless Douluo with level 99 attack type, and is titled Poseidon. 1. The High Priest of Poseidon Island. 2. The spokesperson of Poseidon. 1. Nicknamed Ocean Invincible. 3. A human being who claims to be infinitely close to gods. 4. After passing the top 8 exams, he became the High Priest of Poseidon Island. 5. Sitting in Poseidon Temple and guarding Poseidon Island with the guardians of the 7 sacred pillars. 6. He sacrificed himself and died because he helped Tang San open the road to becoming a god. 7. But with the help of Poseidon, he possessed an immortal soul and could be with his lover Tang Chen forever. 8. 9. 6. 10. 10. 1. 11, 3, 12-13, 120, 6, 1, 99, 1, 1, contents 1 role image identity background appearance and clothing character traits 2 character abilities 3 interpersonal relationships 4 role experience early experiences the covenant of becoming a god 9 examinations of Poseidon immortal soul 5 role evaluation character image editing and broadcasting identity background Bo Seixi has lived on Poseidon Island since she was a child. After completing the 8 top exams given by Poseidon, she became the High Priest and quickly reached the peak soul power level 99. At that time, Douluo continent also gave birth to 2 level 99 peerless Douluo. They landed on Poseidon Island together and fell in love with Bo Seixi. Bo Seixi also fell in love with Tang Chen, the best of the two, and expressed her love in a subtle way. It's a pity that Tang Chen failed to understand Bo Seixi's meaning and let her stay alone in the empty boudoir for decades. 5 animated image appearance and clothing Bo Seixi, Douluo hardcover collector's edition vertical painting, Bo Seixi, Douluo hardcover collector's edition vertical painting. She seems to be about 1.8 meters tall, 14-15. Her whole body is covered in a bright red robe. Her long sea blue hair is spread behind her and almost reaches the ground after being spread out with a soft face. She looks about 30 years old at most. Her beauty comes more from her temperament, which is nobility, elegance and gentleness. In her right hand, she holds a 3-meter-long scepter. The scepter is golden, just like the gold that appeared in the sky just now. It is engraved with magic patterns and has a rhombus-shaped protrusion like a spear at the head of the scepter. Starting from the top, 5 inches below the tip of the spear, there is a diamond-shaped golden gem inlaid. 6. If you just look at her appearance, she is definitely a rare beauty, and her temperament is truly incomparable to anyone. Even Po Bibidong of Wuhan Palace is inferior to her in temperament. The most surprising thing is her eyes. The clear blue eyes are deeper than the sea, and the kind of vicissitudes in them seem to have experienced eternal years. 6. Character traits. Bo Seixi's noble aura puts pressure on people, and her personality has 2 sides. She is usually gentle with others, shy when faced with verbal teasing, but will also face it indifferently. 16. But when faced with people involving Poseidon, she will change. It must be very strict. 6. However, she is essentially an extremely arrogant person. Even if she falls in love with someone, she will not directly confess her feelings. 17. What Bosaxi fears most is the anger of Poseidon, whether directed at her or not, and she may even cry because of it. 18. Bosaxi is very loyal to Poseidon, but she also cares about her own life. The opening of Poseidon's 9th examination requires her sacrifice, so she will legitimately deal with those who accept Poseidon's 9th examination within the rules, but after failing once, Bosaxi, who is kind-hearted, will not kill again. 4. Editing and broadcasting of character abilities. Hajime Nishi 99, 19. 95,969,520.00%, 979,620.00%, 979,830.00%, 989,940.00%, 95, 35, 95, 9. Bosaxi and the equally famous Douluo and Tang Chen are known as invincible in the ocean, invincible in the sky and invincible on the ground respectively. 3. Her strength has reached the point where she can harness the power of the sea for her own use. 1. It can be said that Bosaxi on Poseidon Island is the number 1 in the Soul Master world today, the true strongest. 20. And there is no big difference from a god. 2. Bosaxi's body is full of Poseidon's energy, which allowed her to step into the god level with 1 foot. It is only because of her mission that she can never truly enter that world. 7. Bosaxi's mental power is extremely strong, and its level is equivalent to the ultimate state of the purple demon eye, boundless. She can communicate spiritually with people with the same mental power. 21. And can also impose her own spiritual thoughts into the other person's mind. This imposition can be transformed into attacks. 22. Bosaxi has strong control over mental power and can perfectly combine mental power and soul power. 2. Interpersonal relations. Editor broadcast Poseidon. Bosaxi is the high priest of Poseidon. He is absolutely loyal to Poseidon. Even if he dies for Poseidon, he will not have any fear. 7. Bosaxi's dedication was noticed by Poseidon. After she sacrificed herself, Poseidon gave her the power of eternal soul and allowed her to be with Tang Chen in another world. 8. Tang Chen Haoshan Douluo, together with Douluo, are known as the 2 mountains in the Soul Master world. 1. After the two landed on Poseidon Island together, they fell in love with Bosaxi together because Tang Chen failed to understand Bosaxi's words of love. He left Poseidon Island to inherit the throne of Shura god. 5. However, due to the secret hand of Rakshasa god, he became the king of killing and fell into the city of killing for decades. 23. Douluo, the great enshrinement of the Elder Hall of Wuhan Hall 1, he and Tang Chen landed on Poseidon Island and fell in love with Bosaxi together because Bosaxi liked Tang Chen. She implicitly rejected Douluo. 5. Bosaxi regarded Douluo as his biggest opponent in his life. 4. Tang San, the great-grandson of Tang Chen, was tested by the Poseidon 9 test. 6. Because the 9th test required the sacrifice of Bosaxi's life, and her wish was not fulfilled, Bosaxi once wanted to kill Tang San during the 6th test, but ultimately failed because of Tang San's wisdom. 4. Later, Tang San helped her understand her regret of not seeing Tang Chen again for decades, so Bosaxi was willing to sacrifice for Tang San to inherit the divine throne. 7. Early experiences. People living on Poseidon Island must pass a test when they arrive. Only those who pass the test can stay and serve Poseidon, and those who fail the test will be sent away. 11. The test Bosaxi received was the top 8 exams. 24. After passing the 8 top exams, her soul ring life was increased to 8 black and 1 red, and she was promoted to high priest. She reached level 50 in just 99 years. 5. Chapter 300. Except that fat man. Are you sure this is a pirate's den? This place is too clean. Black Pearl, do you have mysophobia? Chen Luo and the others were walking on the road to the main residence of the Black Pearl Pirates. Looking at the clean and beautiful environment around them, Chen Luo and the others couldn't help but be a little surprised. The places where pirates gather are usually dirty and messy, but I didn't expect the Black Pearl Pirates to be so clean. It seems like someone cleans the place every day, and I haven't seen any chaotic scenes. Black Pearl smiled calmly and said, "We are just pirates, not pigs in a pigsty. We also know how to enjoy life, rather than being enjoyed by life? If my life was half as wonderful as yours, I would be willing to enjoy it." As he said that, Black Pearl also gave Chen Luo a wink. Chen Luo looked very calm. He had long been used to such scenes. There was nothing he could do about it. Being handsome would always bring more troubles that others didn't have. "We are just resting in your pirate group for a while. We will leave probably tomorrow. Then you just need to help us lead the way and we will let you go." Chen Luo was still joking just now, but suddenly he became serious. Black Pearl, who was ogling at first, suddenly became serious and asked, "Lead the way? Where do you plan to go?" "Poseidon Island," Chen Luo said calmly. Black Pearl nodded, then shook his head. "I advise you not to go there." "What?" Chen Luo looked at Black Pearl curiously. At this time, the Shrek Seven Devils and others also focused their attention on Black Pearl. Even the undead became serious, and they were all listening to Black Pearl's information about Poseidon Island. It is indeed called Poseidon Island, but it is also called Devil's Island. Black Pearl began to briefly introduce Poseidon Island. Every year, adventurers like you go to Poseidon Island to experience it, hoping to gain something from it and quickly improve their strength, but most of them end up miserably. First, after arriving at Poseidon Island, you must pass the Poseidon Island assessment before you can live on Poseidon Island. The assessment on Poseidon Island will be divided into levels according to the strength of the people who enter Poseidon Island. The stronger the person, the more difficult the assessment they will face. The assessment that the weaker person will face will most likely be called you. It's as simple as going to the beach and picking up a shell. If the assessment is completed, everyone will be happy, because most people will die during the assessment. But even after completing the assessment, the nightmare has just begun. After completing the assessment, it means that you have officially become a resident of Poseidon Island. Residents of Poseidon Island are not allowed to leave Poseidon Island unless there are some special circumstances. Poseidon Island is indeed a treasure land, but for many people it is also a besieged city. People outside want to get in, and people inside want to get out. Every year, 80.00% of the practitioners are buried on Poseidon Island. The remaining 20.00% can either fully accept the rules on Poseidon Island, or they can't even pass the assessment. Better luck and survive with regret and unwillingness. After leaving Poseidon Island, little did they know that they were also extremely lucky. Poseidon Island is also very cruel. Only the strong can survive on it, or they are the indigenous people on Poseidon Island. The weak can only be expelled, and the means of expulsion are very violent. They will throw you out of Poseidon Island directly. Your life and death from now on will depend on you. There are still many aspects that I can't tell you one by one. If I say too much, my life will be in danger. The reason why our Black Pearl Pirates group can survive in this sea area is partly due to the points given by Poseidon Island. Save face, otherwise we would have perished in the sea. If it weren't for the fact that there are many strange situations on Poseidon Island, I would be very willing to send them new residents. I have witnessed the death of too many people, so I really don't recommend that you go to that ghost place. After listening to Black Pearl's description, everyone fell into a brief silence. They all began to doubt whether they and others made the right choice. However, this small problem could not stop Chen Luo and the others from their determination to go to Poseidon Island. They were just silent for a moment, and soon returned to normal, and they had already made up their minds. Go ahead to dangers. Otherwise, the meaning of their coming here will cease to exist. They came all the way here just to go to Poseidon Island to practice hard and improve their strength. If they get nothing, wouldn't it be a loss of blood? The Shrek Seven Devils and others also appeared very determined, and they all acted as if they must go to Poseidon Island. The mood swings of the Dead Soul Masters were the weakest. They all wanted to have a very thrilling experience on Poseidon Island, preferably something fatal. If it was too ordinary, they would lose interest. The more dangerous the place, the more resources can be obtained. Dead Soul Masters and the others come here for resources. Are you so kind? You actually gave us a reminder? We have obviously occupied your Black Pearl pirate group. Chen Luo asked calmly. Black Pearl seemed very sincere. I also want you to go to Poseidon Island as soon as possible, and then go through all kinds of torture, and finally die in the most painful way. This can also wash away the shame that our Black Pearl Pirates group has experienced. But the key is that you guys are so handsome, except for that fat guy. What do you mean except that fat man? Can't you include me? I'm pretty handsome too, okay. Ma Hongjin suddenly became anxious. Black Pearl ignored Ma Hongjin and continued, instead of letting you die, it is better for you to stay in our Black Pearl Pirates group. Even if I hand over the position of leader to you, it doesn't matter. Even I, the former leader, can do it. Any man or woman can serve you, except the fat man. Ma Hongjin, that's too much, Black Pearl, I'm just telling the truth. I can't say that you are handsome without conscience. Ma Hongjin. In fact, Ma Hongjin has changed a lot. Compared with him before, he has lost a lot of weight, but he is still fat, and his appearance is too ordinary, especially among the Shrek 7 monsters. The other little monsters all look the same. He is so good looking that his ordinariness becomes ugly. We have to go to Poseidon Island. Let's take a good rest today and set off tomorrow. After we leave, the Black Pearl Pirates will belong to you again. I hope you won't always do some evil things. Chen Luo said calmly. Black Pearl said, our Black Pearl Pirates are not as despicable as you say. We usually do things like robbing the rich and giving to the poor. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.